Okay, let's see if this is working. Let me read that. All right, yeah, we're definitely live now. Okay. All right, guys. So I do apologize for the technical difficulties. Apparently, it was on my end. I had my earphone jacks plugged into the laptop earphone instead of hooking up to my splitter for my mic and earphones. So all I was hearing was myself. So we've got that figured out. We have with us today, tonight, Fallout Shelter. Now, he is one of our members here in the community. He does have his own YouTube channel. He also has his own D Live channel, and that's actually where I first met Fallout Shelter. Was on D Live back when I first started out. I was trying out the D Live, and it just didn't really work very well for me. So I put all my energy back on YouTube, and so we've been staying in contact. So tonight we're going to have him discuss a lot of technical stuff that one I don't know enough about. Two, I've been real careful trying to avoid these topics because of this platform. Um, Let me see here in the chat. So my cream colored brother, Flash, you get to stand in the corner again. Alrighty, right out of the gate. Jeez. Before we get started, though, guys, I want to go ahead and bring some notification to y'all. In the past, I did talk about that I was going to be working uh, with Legacy Food Storage. Now, I had contacted them and asked about working on an affiliate program so I can start testing out their products and see if they're worth, supporting or not. So, yeah, they did get me hooked up. So I will be working with that. And no, they're not paying me to do it. Actually, I contacted them and asked for product samples, stuff like that I could test out because you know me, I've tried to do everything on a budget, but canned goods will only go so far. And I've always said after 2 years, a year supply, 2 year supply of canned good dry goods, then I recommend getting into the deep freeze and dehydrated foods. So it's something I will be checking out, and y'all will be seeing. It's probably be about once a week. I'll do a video on something that they have. That way, y'all don't freak out and go, "Oh no, he sold out." No, I didn't sell out. But now, if I'm able to work with a company that I can stand behind, I will. So that's what this is going to be. When you start seeing Legacy Foods, it's because I'm testing them out. All right. So yeah, I will be working with them on that. Let's see what we got here in the chat before we get took off. And I do apologize again, guys, for that last stream. I thought I had everything set up. I was going to be professional. I don't have a Dex J working for me. I did. Now, this was definitely on my end on the technical issues. Okay, so they sent me a free package and I was hooked. Flash. Yeah. I'm fixing to start trying out their stuff, and I've had sample packets before by them, but I want to get into the actual nitty gritty and actually check out the entrees and stuff like that. All right, so Fallout, I am pretty much giving you a lot of room tonight on this. Like we've already discussed, we're gonna try to be mindful of how we phrase things. Fallout has a lot of good information. He knows the actual scientific technical terms, and I'm hoping that the platform is not smart enough to catch these things. So, yeah, you're definitely going to have a full run of the roost tonight. I will be here. I'll be nodding my head going, what?
Yeah, well, I'm going to try to let me apologize in advance in case I mess this up for you. This is a hard subject to cover when you can't say certain words.
Yeah.
So I had a buddy of mine that asked me, he said, well, how are you going to talk about a duck when you can't say duck? I said, well, it didn't say I couldn't talk about a waterfowl. So that's kind of the way we're going to approach it.
Sounds good.
And we'll just approach it. There's so much that could be covered. We could just start from what is actually fact, that is verified fact. I'll say first, because a lot of people here don't know me. I started this the same way most people did. I looked up one day and I said, what in the heck is that in the sky? And eventually I started to take pictures of it, and eventually it led me into where we're at now. And it hadn't been that long. So I will say this, there are places you can go and you can find a lot of information in a quick amount of time. But I found that if you go do it that way and you don't hunt your own information, you're liable to miss one little tidbit in a way that you search for it that somebody else didn't. So some of the stuff that I have is probably plastered everywhere and I don't know it, but I'm looking for it myself in order to satisfy myself. And I decided that people need to, maybe I could share it with people. So most of my life was spent working for a civilian military contractor. And in doing so, I learned a lot of the terms that they use as far as the contracting end goes. And a lot of people don't realize contractors end up knowing more than a lot of military guys do, just simply for the fact they build it.
Yeah.
And I've seen a lot of crazy things and witnessed a lot of crazy things, but in the nature of defense and loving my military growing up, you know, there's things you don't talk about. But this is something we can talk about when they start to put rules and regulations on it. So I'm looking here. I printed a lot of stuff off because I have a lot of things that have come up missing. I will say this: I have a Discord where we share pictures of our skies and the other stuff, and I also have a section of links. Just about everything in the documents that I'm going to give you can be found at one of my YouTube videos or in that Discord. I post links everywhere. Yep. And I suggest that you take this information if you're interested in it and print it, because I found a link today that was good for 4 years until I made a video on it, and now it is dead just a month later. Yep. And I did not print it out. But I do have the video of it, and I saved that on a hard drive, and that's evidence that it was there. Okay, the first thing I hunted up was requests for proposals for weather modification. That is a normal concept in government. When you start to look that up, you can find, and I have one here, and I'll show y'all. Let's make it on the camera. This is one I printed off here. So,
dude, we already got hit. Let me see if this thing will even pop up here. Hold on.
All right. We got hit.
You see at the top it says limited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did we say?
I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, we already got hit. We already got hit. So that's quite all right. We already got hit, so let's roll with it.
Roll with it how? As in say what we want, or?
Yeah. I have no problem. Just make sure that you don't do anything that's going to get you burned on your end.
Oh, dude, every video I have burns me on my end. Look, okay. I'm one of the few people that are proud when my numbers go down a little bit. It lets me know that in my fight, I'm doing the right thing. Yeah. I'm going to have to find a whole different approach if I ever try to make a living in this area than the other way, because it's just not ever going to happen. Okay, well, let's just put it this way.
CJ, your screen looks like mine. Yeah, and that happened 2 days after I purchased that phone, too.
Oh, wow.
I dropped it. It's heavier than the one I usually film on. This is just my usual phone. The other one I film on. And I dropped that sucker. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, well.
I have a box of parts for iPhone 5s, and that's why I keep that one.
Yeah, I like my Android. You know, it's simpler for me to understand, because some of those Apple products, they're not very user-friendly, and I am dumb when it comes to technology, just like we just experienced with the last live stream when I have the earphone jack plugged into the earphone jack instead of my splitter. Oh, well.
Okay. If you go to Google or whatever search engine you use, you can type in U.S. Code of Federal Regulations 908.1, and that is the definitions that are titled out for the reporting of weather modification to the federal government for the United States of America. Now, I don't know if I can pull that link up and we share it maybe in a little while. We'll just talk about it for a minute.
Yeah, absolutely. Nope. If you're able to pull things up on your end, absolutely. You can definitely pull up that paperwork. No problem at all.
Okay. Now, I'm going to cut off the chat. I was going to try to watch it. That's not going to happen if I'm going to share this stuff. Okay, let's do this. NOAA, the National Oceanic, Atmospheric, whatever, the all supreme being of weather modification is where they report to. If I can pull this up, when I shared this with my DLive group, they were all like, what? Okay, I'm going to try to get the screen up, and I will do my best to pull that up. Okay, so what they report there is they have to report pre-weather modification, they have to report during weather modification, and they have to report post-weather modification. Now, what that entails is simply they have to tell exactly what kind of materials they're going to use, how much of the materials they're going to use, in what areas they're going to use them. And it also entails at the end exactly how much they used. Okay, I'm gonna have to try to find this a different way. I'm working on it though, guys. If I can get my Discord pulled up, that's how I'm going to do it. I apologize for this. I'm extremely new to this. I can guarantee that. I'm used to ranting and sharing the links here. Okay. Let me go back up here some. Let me try to screen share this. That's what I'm going to try to do. Okay. I'm going to try to screen share here, and we're going to see how this works. I think there's a button here for it.
All right.
Y'all tell me if it's working.
Yeah, there should be one underneath your window there.
Okay, and then I can pull up my Discord. Okay, we'll do this. This right here is a list of different government documents that I have come up with in my own search. And right here, librarynoaa.gov, at the bottom down here, all of these are weather modification reports to the government. Bunches of pages. Augment snowpack, and it comes down to hail suppression, it comes down to rain enhancement, it comes down to fog suppression. Now, this is what we absolutely know they are spraying. No problem with this. We absolutely know this. Okay, these are definite government documents. They report, and that's the same type of stuff I had to report on in my day-to-day activities. Now, let's go back to 1965. 1965. Now, I'm not going to bore you with the details of this because it is extremely long. It's 158 pages. But in 1965, they were already talking about modifying contrails to be able to modify the climate and to do other work. December 20th, 1965. Now, the links to every bit of this are right there. They're on the videos that I've done about them. I share them at DLive all the time, and I try to keep them close to up to current on the platform on Discord. So when you have all of this starting back that far, now you wonder how far we've gone today. Well, let me see if I can find this little thing here. And I can't see y'all, so this is kind of weird for me. I'm working with it. There we go. From Harvard. I did a YouTube video way back. I think a whole 27 people saw it. And it was called Just Mix It in the Jet Fuel. I'm going to read this to you. It's short, and you don't have to go look it up, but the links are always there. It's from Harvard University. It says, various suggestions have been made for stratospheric aerosols or particles to stimulate the observed cooling effect of major volcanic eruptions. The best known is the detailed proposal of Paul Crutzen for sulfur dioxide. Also extensively discussed is diatomous earth injected as individual diatoms, silica particles originating as marine shells. This paper describes the selection and preliminary testing of chemicals that might be used as aviation fuel additives to distribute these two products, sulfur dioxide and micron-sized silica particles, from a high-flying commercial or military aircraft. These two chemicals tested are dimethyl sulfide to produce sulfur dioxide and tetraethyl silicate to produce silica particles. In a closed glass jar, both of these chemicals are indistinguishable from jet aviation fuel. Both are clear, colorless, oily liquids. Go find some of my videos of the sky and look up at it and look at the colors, and then go pour some oil and some water on the ground and look at it. Both dissolve in aviation fuel in any proportion. Solutions of each of these chemicals have been burned in a paraffin blow lamp as a simple simulation of a jet engine combustion chamber. Then they go on to say that it needs to be tested in a jet engine where those facilities are. But this was the fall meeting of 2007, 12 years ago at Harvard, the same place where you know who works at, if y'all know who I'm talking about. I'll try not to get in too much trouble. His name seems to draw just as much trouble as the word on the trails.
Yeah.
So,
Hey, did you get that article I sent you about the vapors, where it showed that they were picking up a oily substance? It looked like it was a lot of rainbow colors in the sky.
I did, and I ran with it on D Live that night.
Okay, all right. Make sure you got that.
It is actually also posted in my Discord.
Okay.
Okay, now I'm going to come back where I can see you for a minute, and we'll kind of see which way you want to go from on this with the look. We absolutely know that they seed the clouds, and that's not a hidden thing. Okay, I'm having to learn how to use this computer too. I wasn't ready for this, and I have lost my screen.
It's usually right in front of you is that illuminating box.
Yeah, I don't have that. It went away. But I know it's still up anyway. Let me do it this way. Well, that's not working either. There it comes. There it comes. I got it. I figured it out. Yeah, this is my son's gaming computer. It's a little touchy. I'm going to turn my screen share off. Okay, there we go. And just try to talk about some of this. I've got a video that I put out today. Because they'll tell you that you're looking up, you're seeing condensation that's coming from a superheated jet exhaust that's running through super cooled air, and that's why you get the long condensation trails that take so long to go away. I took a video today, and it's not in the best of focus, but I didn't edit anything out of it, and I put the radar on it. I had two planes fly over my house side by side. I believe one was either an American or a Delta, and the other one was a some type of carrier plane. It was a cargo plane. And one plane's leaving a long white trail, and one plane is not. Now, if you're going to tell me that, just take common sense. If you're going to tell me that a jet engine is what makes that, and that aviation fuel going through that jet engine makes that, but one plane makes one and one plane makes absolutely nothing. I don't remember the company, and I don't know the patent right offhand, but there was a company that has actually made equipment to arrest contrails on planes, which means depress them and not have them being shown so much. Now, we also know, and I don't have it where I can readily pull it up, but you can find this at, I think I have it on Discord, or I show it quite regularly because it's a picture. In 2004, the military did put out that the only defense against a directed energy weapon was a metal infused condensation trail. And at that point, all it does is it becomes a big reflector. It was at that point when they started to talk about, well, let's use that for fighting the climate problem, which I get into that quite regularly too, and that's a whole nother ball game. Yeah. I believe in man-made global warming. It's because I believe they control everything. With when you have to deal with these things that are being put over our heads, you have to realize that you have one instance that's doing it for weather, one instance that's doing it for defense, and one instance that's doing it for global warming, climate change, whatever you call it. And there's 3 or 4 different things that are actually going on up there. Now, I wish I was smart enough to tell everybody exactly what was going on. There's people who have been out here studying this for years that are way more educated than I am. I'm like I say, I'm new and young at this, but I have the passion of it. It drives me nuts what they're doing to the skies and the water and the trees and trying to grow food. And so, boy, this is hard to say.
Sorry, I'm pulling up your link right now.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm trying to think of my words. We don't want to crash it completely.
Give me 20 minutes with this thing, and I have it all shut down.
You give me 10, and I'll have you losing subscribers.
No, my subscribers are pretty much very like-minded, like us.
YouTube will get rid of them.
Yeah, they try to watch everything, but they're not. They know exactly what's going on.
Right. Well, what I mean is, like, my count will go for like the last 3 weeks. I've been stuck in the 190s, and it would go to like 193 and back to 191, up to 194, back to 191. And I consider that I was laughing about it. We cut up about it over there because we understand what we're fighting against at the same time.
Yeah.
So we have government regulations right here. Let me show you these government regulations 908.1. I have the link for these, but I've started printing all this out because it's easier for me to look at the paper than it is the screen. And these are the terms that were set forth by the federal government for the reporting of the weather modification. Now, what's really odd is when Mr. Brennan of the CIA addressed the Council of Foreign Relations, he mentioned a term that I have heard now quite a few times, and they call it the transfer from fossil fuels. I'm starting to wonder if with all the stuff that they are spraying and the chemicals that we can find, if you look up the MSDS sheets for coal ash and coal fly ash, and the reason I say to look up those two things are because of some old timer Air Force guys. They use the term soot or potash, and they'll explain it as when you get through with a fire, you have minerals. Well, that's what the military has been testing with for ages on this. They even added into the JP-8 where they can make the exhaust fumes black on the big jets. Yeah, they do that at low altitude, and they cover up runways and all kinds of stuff. Well, I've watched a bunch of these specials where the coal ash ponds were like falling in and deteriorating rivers, and they had to come in and clean them up. And they show you all of the equipment, the track hose. They come in and they clean it up, but they never show you where it goes. I've got videos here of I'm just going to call them the refuelers. Most everybody should understand what that is. And when they take off from our local airport and they just start to fly the big refuelers, the big gray ones, over and over and over, those are the days I can just sit and film trails like shooting ducks in a barrel. And then I can go to a certain lake and I can watch them come down, and most every one of them still have the hose hanging out the back about 4 foot. There's nothing up there to fuel. But you realize when you have a fueler, you already have a way to pump a liquid through a hose into the air.
Yeah.
No change needed. And you have a 60,000 foot aircraft.
Well, the thing is, though, like I said, I was at the Air Force many years ago. Why is there a refueling plane flying above U.S. soil? What's the purpose of that other than military drill, unless you're doing
training? Yeah.
Okay, there's no reason for it except for training on the practice of that. You can't tell me they have to do that every single day.
Yeah, they train about twice a week here.
Yeah.
All day.
Yeah, it's a nice cover for them.
You know what it costs to fly one of those planes that long. So what I'm telling everybody is, what you don't realize, you pay in your taxes to have this done. They find a way, I don't know what that is. They find a way now to profit from it and charge you a carbon tax because you emit CO2 while they charge you to pay what's going on. And now there's companies that have learned to extract CO2 and turn it into fuel pellets. They're getting government money to do this while being able to be a private company to sell the fuel. Now, who pays for all of it? We do. And we don't consent to any of it.
Yeah, now, that's gonna result back, and I'm just gonna sidetrack on that one there. I completely agree with you. That's gonna come back to, how can I phrase this? 1776. There we go. That's what's going to have to happen again. I agree with that. Where the Constitution is still stand. That's the only way to keep the Constitution. And I'm sure they probably even have that date. They probably caught that one. But you know what? It's already been flagged, so it's okay.
Gotcha. Okay, well.
Wait, we're reaching 47 people right now, so they can do whatever they want to. At least 47 people has been reached.
All right. Well, that's awesome. And I always say, if we can reach one and they reach one.
Exactly.
And if we're wrong when we die, we were wrong when we die. But if we're right, we're not trying to do anything but help everybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the way I go about it on a day-to-day basis. Okay. I'm looking for it. Let me see if I can pull this up. In 2011, there was a House hearing on geoengineering. And I'm going to try to find it. How did I do that? I had Discord up. If I lose you, I'll pick it back up somehow. Okay, the House hearing on geoengineering, where this is kind of where I get into a problem, my whole problem with politics. I'll just go ahead and say it. While they're out here in the front fighting about, left and right and who did this and who did what, and we're going to do this for you and that for you, and we're going to give you this, and they keep you fighting amongst each other. Then in the background, they go into these meetings, and I think I got it right here. They go into these meetings, all right, now let me see if I can screen share it. All right, they go into these meetings, and Weather Modification Research and Technology Transfer Authorization Act of 2005. They go in, and this is what transferred the power back to the federal government and started allowing them to dump a ton of money back into weather modification. Now, from what I read through some of this, the reason we got back into it is because China and Russia had gotten so far ahead of us on being able to control the weather that the federal government started to get back in it in America. John D. Rockefeller is part of the group making these decisions on weather modification. Just saying. The purpose of the bill set forth in Section 2 of the bill is to develop and implement a comprehensive and coordinated national weather modification research policy and a national cooperative federal and state program of weather modification research and development. Those words from the federal government mean we're taking over the whole thing across the country. That's what that means. Now, I'm learning.
Were you trying to? Were you attempting to use the screen share there? Because I didn't get anything on my end. If you were,
I did. It said
Yeah, I'm watching the live also on my mobile, so I can see how it's turning out, and I'm not receiving any of your screen shares.
Okay, you don't see it sharing now?
No.
To see what it shows me that I'm showing to you is screen sharing.
Yeah, I'm watching the live right now, and hold on a second. Let me get you on the screen, and we'll test you out. But
here, let me turn the screen share off. All
right, I got you on full screen now. Try your screen share now.
Okay.
No, we're not picking up anything.
All right. Well, the links are there on my Discord and in the videos.
All right.
I have got a video that's called House Hearing on Geoengineering, and it has the link where the House hearing on geoengineering, they go into talking about the chemical aerosols quite a bit. They go into talking about space mirrors. Now, I happen to believe that other than a simulator, which a lot of people talk about, I can't see any actual evidence of it, real evidence. But the weird pictures that people get of the different looking suns could very well happen if there's some type of reflective device in between the planet and the sun. And they talk about having one that could be like 70 square miles, could reflect 1.5% of the sunlight back. And now that's not crazy talking. That was held in the House Geoengineering. That's in their transcript. And that's why I try to use these things.
Well, I remember watching, you had some photos they had taken from outer space. I believe it was the space station. And was it Baja? the picture of Baja was completely. It didn't look right at all from what
That's right.
maps show. This thing looked completely weird.
I did a video on that.
Yeah, I remember coming across it. Yeah.
Yeah. It actually, the picture they showed was from the thing that Bill Nye the Science Guy and his team sent up called the Space Sail or something.
Oh no, that's the SSFF off.
Okay. I got you.
Yeah, yeah.
But the Bajas went from like one pole to the equator. I never knew that they were that large.
Neither did I.
I mean, I have a globe over here that I could check at any time that I'll go to look just to make. I'll be checking stuff and looking, and it was not that big. I took a picture of the globe and put it next to their picture and said, "No, this is what we're taught, and this is what you're showing us."
Well, it's just weird. You sit there and look at satellite feed, okay? I mean, you're getting satellite feed, and then you'll see a completely different satellite showing the same area look completely different. Now, I'm not talking about zooming in or zooming out showing that difference. I'm talking about everything from mountain ranges to riverbeds. Like, so what are they really showing you?
Computer generated images.
Yeah, there's a lot of misinformation as far as they sit there and say, this is what you get. This is exactly how everything looks, but it's not.
Well, and I fall in a funny line on a lot of that because I absolutely believe that just about everything NASA tells you is a lie. Just how I am. But at the same time, I'm not denying that there is some type of area that we can get to where maybe it's a Lagrange point, where the pole, I don't know. I'm not smart enough to know. People say, well, what do you think about the Earth? What shape is it? I don't know. Put me on a rocket, shoot me up there so I can see it, and I'll come back and tell you. But when you get into these things, there's so many questions that they can't answer that makes anything that might be real look fake as well.
Yeah.
That's my opinions on it. Now, I did notice one thing that really I did notice. SpaceX sent up a little deal here a while back, and I've been watching because I loved it. I love NASA. I thought I grew up wanting to be an astronaut. You know what I mean? And everybody, I want to go to space. I want to land on the moon. Until you realize, okay, if we landed on the moon, I don't know if we did or not. I don't really get into that a whole lot. But I don't believe the film that we saw of it was real. I mean, I can't get that good a service on my cell phone. Me and you don't get that good a service here. And they had a crystal clear call for like 280,000 miles with a big old bulky telephone.
Yeah.
I'm not buying it.
Well, just so everybody here knows, I am by no means a flat earther. I don't believe
I'm not either
at all. But now when it comes down to the moon landing, there is a lot of fishy stuff that doesn't add up. Let's put it that way. For us to have, what they say, that the processor, that the computer that they had run off the same power that a calculator runs off now.
Yeah, right.
But now we're having difficulties to get there, land there, put a man there now. Yeah, with all this technology we got right now that's surpassed from the 60s, but now we're having difficulties.
Right.
Doesn't make any sense.
The sheet by it.
Well, didn't India just crash the satellite or lander?
Yeah, they didn't make it. They lost contact with it. Right.
They were trying to zoom over it to see what the wreckage, but last I saw, they didn't see it. So I don't even know if they even made it to the moon.
Right. Well, look, there is a video, and I can't remember who done it. I went and looked it up. There's an article in a scientific journal, and I can't remember if I made a video about this or if it was on DLive or what it was. But it's when Jeff Bezos first said that he was going to work with the Blue Origin's moon lander. And they said the first thing they had to tackle was getting into orbit, because at the time there was no way to get into orbit from the continental United States. That was in a scientific journal. That wasn't in Fallout Shelter or crazyworld.com.
Who was saying this again?
It was in the physics.org.
Physics.org, okay.
Yeah, it's a scientific and Science America. Mm-hmm. And it was not a crazy article. They were given reasons, and it was about the problems they were having and the money they were and where they were spending it. It was just a scientific article. But in that article, it made the statement they were having trouble finding a launch system because technically right then there were no ways to get to orbit from the continental United States. I didn't make it up. And I'm going to try to find it again because that just hit me. I made a lot of videos in a quick amount of time that were horrible. And
I still make horrible videos. What are you talking about?
But yeah, well, I'll leave them there though, because I might need to go back and check them out one day. I don't go back and watch them.
No, I try to leave my videos up for many reasons. As a creator, once you get those views, it does help your channel out. I did have recently took down some videos only because I had some issues with an individual and I was shouting out their channel. So I went ahead and took that down. Now I did take over a 5,000 view hit on those 3 videos, but the channel is still continually growing. They've already been replaced.
Congratulations on that, by the way.
Oh, dude, I've had a great deal of help. Actually, a lot of people right here in our chat actually came over from Marfugo TV, Marfugo News. And I've had a lot of support from Adam, his team, the mods. As a matter of fact, we've got a couple mods. We got CJ Blaze here. We got Carolyn Lowe up in here. French File, I did see her. She probably disappeared on me. Smoke break, probably.
Well, if y'all catch me at Marfugo, it's like when he first comes on, I'll say hello, and then I'll put it over to the side, and then usually if I wake up, there's a dead cell phone beside me.
I try to make it through to the tail end of it for the shoutro, but by then it is so past my bedtime. I used to be a night person. All right, I didn't go to bed till the sun started coming up. But when I started working as a welder, most of the time, if I wasn't working nights, I was having to be at work by 4:30 in the morning, 5 o'clock.
Right.
So 10 o'clock is pushing for me. So as a matter of fact, last night when I called in, I had just taken my medication. Because everyone here knows I'm still going through physical therapy and stuff.
Right.
I had just taken my medication and he came on. And by the time I got through on the phone, I listened to the replay today. I'm like, I sound a little doped.
Oh, you sounded fine, man. I actually heard your phone call last night. I thought it went fine.
Every time I call in, there's a delay in there, and it doesn't sound like I'm talking over Adam until I watch the replay. I'm like, oh, kind of like an asshole. I'm talking over him all the time.
Well, that happens. It took me a long time to get used to the delays and stuff that we have to deal with around here because, you know, I'm just a guy talking into a computer. And like I said, I started just staring, pointing up, and then I started hunting up all these documents, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this isn't even a secret.
Yep.
Now,
Scott Rogers got a good point there. We can't talk between 2 buildings. How are we going to go to the moon? Last statement made.
Right. Good point.
Before his crew were sacrificed. Yeah, that's not a joking matter there for sure.
Yeah, I can't.
Yeah, you definitely bring up a great point there, Scott, for sure.
I can't see his points. I shut all that off a while ago. It wasn't working.
You didn't sound doped. All right, good deal. Yeah, the stuff that they give me, guys, it gets me it helps me sleep. Let's put it that way.
I've been there. I went through a foot surgery that it took me about 3 years to recover from.
Oh, dude, I ain't got that much time. I could be in Wyoming in spring.
This happened 4 years ago.
Oh, God.
I got one of those crazy infections, and they never called it a bacteria or a flesh-eating bacteria or anything, but it was pretty aggressive, and they removed a good bit of the bottom right onto my foot and part of the bone onto my big toe, and it takes a while to grow that back. They put me on Neurontin, and I took it for a while, and it really messed my head up, and I've done everything I could. I'm not now taking anything for it now, but the pain is a little worse, but I can at least feel my head again.
I'm not gonna go there.
Yeah, it was. Let me rephrase that.
Yeah,
I couldn't remember anything.
Okay.
I like the, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was getting to where after a long period of time, I'm like, how long have I been taking this medicine? And I had foot surgery when?
Yeah.
Yeah. Not a good medicine.
I want to run something by you. Okay, now when we talk about GMO foods all the time, GMO seeds. As preppers, we try to stick with the heirloom seeds because we don't want all the genetic in us. But now I've really been thinking about the big push on this. Not there's multiple theories on this why they're doing it. All right, well, of course, the biggest one so they can control food crops. But my question is this: I've been thinking about this for a while now. Are they genetically modifying these seeds for a future event that they know about and have not released the information to us yet? Are they modifying these things to be more hardy for survival? And they ain't told us exactly why things are going on. Get your thoughts on that. I mean, of course, we all really definitely believe it's to control food, but what do you think about that?
Well, we actually talk a good bit about food, and the people that are in my Discord, they come up with a lot of good answers on some of this stuff. I personally, I personally believe that they would love to have an event where they could bring about what they want to bring about. But if you even just look at the scale that it takes to manipulate a storm, every city or state has 2 to 3 Doppler radars. And that is some of them are phased array, some of them are not. Those electromagnetics can move the storms around. Well, if you would think you could control that, you wouldn't need to mess with the seeds. But we do mess with the seeds, and we worry about growing them inside. We worry about making them resistant. But we also, the big thing they worry about doing is making them where they won't reproduce. Anything they do, you've got to look at the economic value of it. That's what it's all about to them, is ripping you of your paper money and turning it into gold in their pocket. I could read you the first page out of Morals and Dogma, the book by Albert Pike for the people. And it just tells you flat out where you stand, where they stand, and to economize everything. So when you take those seeds, what you do is they trying to make them where they will grow in aluminum soil and other heavy metals in the soil that they will be able to fight against that. But they also want that seed so that when you buy it, the reproduced seed does not work. You have to buy that seed again. Mm-hmm. And anytime you genetically modify, you were talking about the mosquitoes, which is funny because I was talking about them on D Live last night too. Big story about those mosquitoes. The same company that's telling the people, oh, well, don't worry about them, they're harmless, is the same company that put them out there and said, oh, well, they're all going to die anyway. Well, they lied to you the first time, they're lying to you now. So they'll tell you these seeds are safe, it's better for you. Your tax money goes to the research because most of that research is done by the Corps of Engineers spread out to colleges. And, that's just the way it is. I mean, like it or not. So your tax money pays for the research and development, and then you pay for the end product again. Another big cycle. Now, I believe that the big event is actually a slow moving event. If you go and you check the maps, I started reading the, how do I say this? The Sustainability Act that came out in the early 90s at that World Organization. And it was set for about 30 years away, which is 2 years from now. Maybe I got that in there. Okay. I've been reading through that. And what sustainability means is basically getting you off of your property, taking it over, using it for natural sustainability, and putting you into areas just like everybody's been saying. And they say it in nice words. The GMOs, I think that they came out with it just to control the food sources. And I think it has side effects that they don't want to admit it has. And then they spray it with glyphosate. And do you know glyphosate will actually break down heavy metals in your body and allow them to travel into your membrane, through the membrane of your brain into your brain. So the aluminum that's in your blood, if you have aluminum, barium, strontium, or other chemicals from, I don't know, fallout, and you're breathing it, if you're also around the glyphosate, it can allow that membrane to become permeable and those heavy metals to enter in. That's not good. It's not good at all.
Yeah, and um, just to clarify, guys, I wasn't saying that we should be eating GMOs. It's just something that come across. I hate to say my desk, actually my workbench,
Mhm.
with some of the stuff that I get sent to me and researched on, and it did make me think on that. I try to look at different things, different angles. Fringe did mention the seed vaults. Yeah. Um, Personally, I believe that they're just going to try to control the food, starve us off. Um, but it was something to look at, and that's why I want to get other people's opinion. I've been reading the chat here, watching what y'all were saying about that too. Um, yeah, definitely. It's if you control the food, you control everything. Okay, most people say you control the money. If you control the food, um, you got it. Of course, nowadays they're going to run military in to take whatever they want. Um, man, I hate to, man, this thing is really going to go into the C theory videos.
You might just want to delete this one.
I'll tell you what, I'm going to leave it up as long as I can. Now,
well, it's hard to talk about this stuff. I mean,
and that's why I did like the D Live. You had more room.
I don't worry about anything I say over there.
Yeah, I know.
I might should. I might should.
It's just that I don't know.
Let me tell you this. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
If I said the constructors who run the world get together once a year, would you know who I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Okay. In 2018, one of their topics was life in the post-truth world.
What year?
Last year, 2018.
Okay.
Okay. Life in the post-truth world. Where are we at right now? We're not saying anything crazy. We're not saying anything mean, hateful. We're just saying stuff that governmentregulations.com, Office of the Government of the Historian. I don't have paperwork from crazy places. The Department of Public Works, LA County. This is a actual invitation for a solicitation. You can give them a price on weather modification with this package right here. I have filed, because let me tell you, you want to know where you get the license to be able to spray the sky? You get it in Texas. At the Texas driver's license, I have applied for a weather modification permit since my family has some of the federal numbers in their contracting jobs. I went and filled out the paperwork and just filled it out using some of their numbers. And I told him, it's not like it'll be, but the worst they can do is turn me down. But if they turn me down, that's a legal document from Texas to me, turning me down for weather modification.
Yeah.
If you go to weathermodificationhistory.com, this is what I'm going to do, because there's so many people out there that are so much smarter than me. I point a camera up and I scream at the airplanes. You can look at some of my videos and you can tell that there's actually two different colors coming out of them. That's what got me started.
You're actually screaming at a moving object. I just scream at the TV.
Well, I scream at the airplanes, and then I scream at people around me going, "You don't see that?" And when they go, "What are you talking about?" I'll look at them, and I don't have the right one with me right here, but I keep the House hearing on geoengineering printed copy in my truck. And I'll be like, "Oh, really? Look, just check this out." And I don't give them a chance to say nothing else. I stuff it in their face. And they look at it, and it is a real, it is a transcript from a House hearing. It has the people's names beside it. If you wanted to, you could find it on CNBC or whatever they are. Go to one of the C-SPAN, that's it, where they show the C-SPAN, you can look in their archives and find that meeting. When you go find that meeting, the right and the left, they're not screaming at each other. They're sitting down like this, and they're listening intently to the scientists, and they're working together. Because in the back, they're working together to run everything. You're talking about he who controls the food, he who controls the weather controls the world.
Yeah, that's definitely a good point. Hey, let me put you on full screen for a minute. I'm going to step out. I'm going to use the restroom.
All right. I'll
be right back.
I'll get you in all kind of trouble while you're gone.
That's okay. I can deal with it.
Right. Well, I can't see the chat, so I can't answer any questions, but I will just talk for a minute. Oh, At DLive, I go through the mainstream news. I filter through all the political stuff, and I try to find where they're talking about science and they're talking about tech. And I'm not a scientific or technical or really smart kind of guy. I grew up doing construction work and mechanic work, and you just have to kind of fix it if it breaks out here in the country. So I kind of come at this I try to come at it at the superpower of common sense kind of mind frame. It's like I read an article to my DLive group last night, and it was on, I think it was from either msn.com or from phys.org. And it was telling us that the ice sheets in Greenland are growing, and that's causing more runoff, but that's happening because the earth is getting warmer. You know what? There may be some crazy type of power thing that I don't understand, but they're putting that out to the masses, and the masses don't even question it. Question everything, is my opinion. If you go check out that video that I actually caught today and was really lucky to catch it, I just happened to be standing out back of my house fiddling with my camera because let me tell y'all, I ain't going to say this in front of Prepper, but it's his fault that I have a camera in front of me now. It's his fault that I ever had a camera in front of me. I wasn't going to do it, but he kind of kept on about it. So anyway, that being said, I'm doing my best to produce government documentation on the stuff that, hey, this is pretty cool. If I can find a light, hold on a second. This is a memorandum from the Deputy Under Secretary of State for Political Affairs Kohler to Secretary of State Rusk. This link is also in my Discord. This is January 13th, 1967. This is the official documentation on Project Popeye, where the Deputy Under Secretary of State was talking to Secretary of State Rusk, and where they talked about how successful the Popeye project was. It was so successful, they said they probably needed to stop. That was when they flooded out the Ho Chi Minh Trail and all of that good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there you are. You're back.
Yeah, I'm back. I noticed I got 72 thumbs down. Thanks a lot. No, I'm kidding.
I wouldn't surprise me.
No, we're good. We're good.
Check this out. Where did it go? The amount of rainfall induced by seeding is believed to have been sufficient to have contributed substantially to rendering vehicular routes in this area inoperable. Since the end of the rainy season, the communists have failed to undertake route repairs, and there has been no vehicular traffic. In one instance, the rainfall continued as the cloud moved eastward across the Vietnam border and inundated a U.S. Special Forces camp with 9 inches of rain in 4 hours. That was in 1966. Imagine where technology is today. Well, I don't know. Maybe we can't make it rain anymore. We can't go to the moon anymore. So, I don't know.
I'm letting you run.
Oh, well, I mean, okay. I'll go.
Go-to guy when I got to go find out some information, especially on whether the good old aerosol spraying, things like that, because he has the paperwork to back it up. Like I said, guys, I started following Fallout Shelter. I met him back when I did my DLive days, and it was very short, but that's where I first met him. We've been friends since then. I always run things by him because some things I don't have the ability to track down, or I try to stay away from, because let's face it, you start researching things online, you get labeled real quick. But
That's
you know,
me.
yeah, they definitely know about you.
Hey, what's funny though is see, working on a military facility sometimes, I don't hide it there either. So I kind of have a theory more along the lines of I put so much out there that they kind of just look over me in real life. You know, they're like, oh, it's the crazy guy again. But every once in a while, you'll have one of the military guys that'll be like, hey, let me tell you something, crazy guy. And it could be a cool story. I worked at a facility in the 90s where they buried a lot of the nuclear warheads that were decommissioned after the nuclear talks. And the day that they got through burying the nuclear warheads, my inspector came to me and said, okay, your job's done. Leave. What? He said, just finish your invoices for this. The base is closed. 2 weeks later, it was opened up to public housing from HUD. That was one of the first HUD projects. They closed the military bases where they buried the nuclear warheads, and they put low-income housing on it.
Yeah, I remember you covering that. I think that was on your D-Live.
That was early on in D-Live.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll share that with people, though, because I think that's stuff people ought to know. A lot of people don't know. They drove that stuff in on flatbeds with tarps over it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Manifestation of imagination. I did see you in here earlier, buddy. But you definitely bring up a good point. Most of the biggest C people I know have worked for the government. Why is that? Because to work, you have to have your eyes open and get to see all kind of really cool stuff.
When you see stuff and people tell you didn't see that, you need to be looking really close.
Yeah, just don't let them see you looking.
Right. Okay.
All right.
And when they say don't step over the red line, don't step over the red line.
Yeah.
They mean that. Okay, the Operation Popeye stuff. They went through, and that was one of the earliest ones in 1966. We've been seeding with silver iodide for 50 years. I don't have it up where I can play it, but I'm going to get it where I can play it on D-Live. And I'm not worried about copyright stuff on my YouTube. So I'm trying to get a version of it where I can play it on my YouTube channel. It is the Weather Modification Council meeting that took place on June the 6th, where a man says, oh, we were even seeding storms that we had no business seeding. Blatantly proud of it. I'm going to try to get that up on my channel as well. I've got it ripped from a place. I just haven't got it where I can. I'm working between a couple of computers that my kids have. I really thought at one time I would shoot videos of there it goes, of chemical aerosols and just let them play and bring about some awareness.
Yeah.
And just kind of where I've come to. So I'm still just trying to bring awareness. Trying to bring awareness from a place where people can believe what they're looking at. I actually have a lot of stuff that I want to try to get together. When I start searching through this stuff, it just kind of gets put off to the sides. About the only thing I can say is I try to put a link to every video.
Yeah.
Unless it's just my stuff that I'm making. You can just about bet I don't put anything out without a source. And I try to make sure it's a reputable source. I have one where there's the Russian ultrasound and their microwave stuff, basically, where they give the side effects of it. And basically they tell you if you hit you on the head too long, you'll fry like an egg. So that type of stuff exists if we're willing to really search for it, and you got to learn to type the right keywords. Now, I went back and did a little work on these facilities that I was on early in my life, and I went back recently. I will tell you this, because it probably won't last past November. I'm probably about through with that. I was trying to help my dad in his last job before he retires. He broke his ankle, so I kind of got rooked back into that one. That's why I was working such late at night, and my videos popped up at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, because I put my videos on when I made them when I got home. Oh, that was a rough time. But anyway,
I'm glad that you start staying on film. It took me a while to get you to do that. You did that one video where you stepped on film at the tail end of it.
I told y'all. See, I told a little story while you went to the bathroom.
Oh yeah,
yeah. You're the only reason there's a camera right there right now.
And to me personally, it makes it easier to digest information if you can actually put a face to it. There's nothing wrong with just filming information. You know, it's easily done. Most people are shy or they don't want to be on camera. I get that, but when you start getting into some of this more in-depth topic, it's so much easier to get that word out instead of being so anonymous on it. Because most of the time, like, well, why are they hiding? Why this? It just makes it easier for people to digest that information.
I drove race cars from the time I was 14 years old up till 2003. So that was about 12, 13 years. Shy is not an issue. I didn't have a camera because I was using a small laptop with very little power, and I was learning everything, and I didn't want a camera on me while I was learning to do all of this and scattered everywhere. And now that I've actually got a lot of that figured out, I've learned how to use hotkeys. I can turn stuff off and on my software, that I didn't mind it. So I brought the camera in Monday, and my D-Live group was like, oh, wow.
I don't know how to do it with keys. I have to take a look. I have to watch a video on YouTube on how to do that. That's how I learned everything on YouTube. I go watch a video on it.
Well, thank you, Matana A. Much love to you. I'm doing the best I can. When I say I raced, my family also does some promotions. So I kind of got used to, I played with some video stuff and audio stuff back in the 90s in the, let's say, the stay up all day phase and all night phase. And I like that stuff. I just got away from it, and doing this allowed me to have something. This is probably the first thing I've been passionate about since I give up driving race cars.
Yeah.
So, and it gives me a good positive passion. Like I say, I'll tell everybody here, this is one of the main things I want to get across to the people that can hear me. I am young and fresh at looking into this stuff. Jim Lee at climateviewer.com has maps and 3D maps. He has lists of every one of the phased array antennas, the soft magnetic antennas, and he also has legislation that he's drafted to help hold accountable the people who are doing the geoengineering.
Yeah.
He also is weathermodificationhistory.com, and you can go to his website and get tons of real information back to the late 1800s when they were trying to shoot ice up into the clouds with cannons, and find documentation that he's went back and found in old newspapers. I wish I was better set up to share what I have, but if I can tell anybody that, they need to check him out. And then I watch every night from 9:30 to 10:30. What I've done is I go on after a guy named Mike Morales, and he just basically goes over the weather and shows you the satellites of the light things, how they're lined up with the radar. If you watched any of my early videos where I was doing that, lining it up, he's where I learned how to do that. Yeah. You know, you can see where they can slow and speed things up. Well, he's really sharp at that. So if I could tell anybody, if you're interested in it, those are the two guys that I've learned. Whatever I've learned from here, I'm more along the lines of a voice that'll scream in the wilderness when they need it. If you need somebody to stand up there and, I'm your guy. So I'm learning.
Just saw a manifestation there. I'm a prepper. I worry about everything.
Right.
No, we don't worry about it. We plan.
Yeah, we're prepared.
And I'm just saying that because I know he's goofing around there. Actually, I love Reach's channel a lot. I can't wait for more content from him. I know he's been very busy with his work and all, and I'm hoping to have him on my channel here pretty soon. Since I'm learning my technical difficulties, is usually because of me. But yeah,
most of mine are too.
Oh yeah, I was getting frustrated. I kept seeing his screen. He's mouthing, but I can't hear anything. And he's typing in, everything's checking out. I've done 4 tests, 3 reboots. It's not me. I'm like, dude, I don't know what you're talking about. I use this all the time. And then I just happened to look at my earphone. I'm like, oh, I'm plugged into the wrong port.
And I never use it. So I'm thinking the whole time, oh my gosh, what have I done?
No, something I do want to bring up.
I'll talk about anything.
You talk about, researching the paperwork. I always tell people, research that paperwork. That's why, on your channel, you bring up the paperwork, and also on your D-Live, you give that paperwork. Something that's really frustrating to me when you're trying to talk about a topic, and somebody is just a diehard one YouTube channel junkie. All right? Right. That's it. And they take it as gospel, no matter what. They never research anything. It's just as blind as following mainstream media. Unless you research it and see it for yourself, I can't stand it when people come up, well, so-and-so such and such said this, and you're wrong. All right, does he have any documentation? I don't need it. He's always right. Well, how do you know he's right? Have you checked that documentation?
Right.
And that's what I love about Marfugel. There's always the links. Okay.
Right.
Now, if I run a story, it takes me a little while because I'm still learning everything here. It's usually 15 minutes afterwards. I get the links up in the description or in the pin in the comment so people look at. And, it just takes me some time. I'm not really smart on these things yet, but I know what needs to be done with them. But,
Your videos look really good when they come out, though.
Yeah, always look into paperwork. When someone's telling you something, look it up. Find out for yourself. Don't take things face value. I grew up very inquisitive. I questioned everything. Well, being inquisitive and also being mechanically inclined made me a great mechanic. Well, later I just got tired of being a grease monkey and I just stuck to weld. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know. I'm gonna have to get up the French files there and see about working online because I'm 40. All right, this is something funny that the doctor always says. When I come into therapy and I got a hangover, well, Mr. Lynch, you don't need to be doing that. And I do say my last name because I already did a video exposing my past and everything. So my name's out there. I'm not worried about that.
Right.
Nothing is in my name as far as where I live, power, things like that. I play it smart on ends like that, guys. Even my property is not my name. Okay, just up in Wyoming. I've got big family. So family I trust. But anyway, damn, I got sidetracked. Oh, yeah, he goes, well, you're 40 years old. You need to take it easy. You're not a young man anymore. But now when I'm hurting from my therapy, he goes, well, you're still young. You'll recover just fine. I'm like, wait a second, you
Right.
asshole. That's not a two-way street. Okay?
I got it. That's aware. I'm very aware.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't care, though.
No, I do have a good therapist this time, though. He's actually done very well. They got a lot of improvement in my range of motion. We're still trying to do the strength training because it's been over a year. I've got a lot of atrophy. I've got tendons that have drawn up. So it's a work in progress. It freaking sucks.
Yeah.
Okay. But other than that, I'm doing a lot
65
better.
pounds over the last 2 years because of this foot thing. It was hurting so bad having to walk on it. I'm aware of that. I can tell you, it's rough. I lost a couple of my reflex tendons in my foot, so I can tell you you need to stretch a lot.
Yeah, and I do. I still have my ice machine from my surgery, so I use that every night in between my. You put it all in. It's got a mat and everything, so it cools everything down. It works better because if I do heat, dude, I can barely move my arm. It's so much inflammation in there, it just swells up. I can barely move it. I did see Josh here. He sent me an email earlier.
Yeah.
He couldn't find a lighter. Was broken fire starting kit, but I found one. He did get his fire starting kit today, and he sent me an email today to let me know he received that. So I hope that you'll never need to use it, but I'm glad you have it with you. Put it in your bug out bag or something like that. Oh yeah, dude, man, I've got so many of these things. I actually love it than most fire starters because I have more control over it. It's big enough where I can hold. I mean, Walmart's got them like $5.
Right.
I got discount on mine because I bought so many of them. I ordered mine by bulk. All right, I don't have 1,000 anymore, but I did have 1,000 of these things, and these things were everywhere. My wife's looking at me and goes, "You're not going to leave those there, are you?" I'm like, "Oh no."
Where am I going to put them?
Yeah. Also, with the channel, guys, my wife has agreed to start stepping in on some of our shows.
Awesome.
Mainly, she is going to be working with our shows when I start doing the legacy food storage, because as we all know, and I've said many times, my taste buds, I got like 90% that don't work. All right, so everything just pretty much is texture with me. When I got electrocuted, I lost a lot of good things. All right, and I know my wife cooks very well. She is a foodie. I didn't know that was a profession, but she says it is. She worked in restaurants. She was a cordon bleu chef, I think is what it's called. But she gave that up to go in illegal stuff for a little while. So she has agreed to step in and help with those taste tests and things like that. Because when we get out to Wyoming, she will be. I'm trying to get her to start it early, so she start growing. She's gonna start her own YouTube channel to help out with the homestead too, because there's gonna be a lot of things that she does there in the house and things like that that I'll be too preoccupied to do. So her having that ability to also show that is gonna be pretty cool. So when that gets started, guys, make sure y'all subscribe to her, and I will. She doesn't have her channel up yet. She's still a little shy there. So we're gonna slowly bring her in, and she'll get comfortable and stuff, and she's gonna start her own channel up.
It was better than the response I got. My wife told me that if she came in here and I didn't tell her that camera was on, she would kill me. So.
Oh no, me and mine, we get along great. She
we
she
get
knows,
along great.
yeah, she knows while I'm out here doing this stuff. She's like, okay, yeah, go bother them for a while. I'm tired of hearing it.
Well,
No,
I have a habit of forgetting to turn it off, and even though it's not recording, she can still see the little box up on the screen, and I'll have my software still up, and she'll come through the door. I thought you had that thing off. I'm sorry, baby. I love you.
Wait a second, you were still recording?
Well,
yeah, okay.
I don't know if I was or not. I just leave my stuff up.
Yeah, okay. We'll stick with that. We won't go any further on that one.
That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Exactly. Scan family. When she starts her channel, will you link it to yours? Yes, I will. Like I said, guys, I had a lot of help from other people to get my channel where it is right now. Last time I checked, we were like 1880 subscribers. That's not all me. I've had a lot of great shout outs. Alaska Prepper was one of my first channels that started giving me shout outs. And then later, Marfugal gave me shout outs. I had one of my subscribers do the ask for the what's it called, the love mob. Okay, and my channel jumped from like 940 and over 1,000 overnight. I did a video on that, and then I've had like 2 other ones from Marfugal. So yeah, my channel is not just me, guys. It's help from everybody, and that's why I try working with other channels. Me and Fallout Shelter, we get along great. We've been talking for a long time. All right, now I know, like you said, you're not really worried about the YouTube because you run your D Live, but we still try to reach out and try to help out other people. I try
absolutely,
as much as possible. When I find out one of our subscribers here has a channel, I try to promote it. I have been bitten the arse once on that one, so I'm a little more careful when I start doing that. But yeah, for the most part, I always try to help each other out.
Well, I do my best to support everybody that I can without doing them any harm. A true story. This is actually a true story. I streamed on D Live for a long time, and then I decided, you know what? I'm going to stream on YouTube. And I set up a live stream, and I think it was on a Thursday morning or something. I figured I would go in, check the settings, see how it all worked, and there we go. I had 76 subscribers at this point. I go in, I do the live stream. I have 2 people in there with me, and Richie from Boston comes in the live stream.
Richie from Boston? Yeah.
Really? He's still there. I left it up. I was going to delete it, but I left that up. The story that I was doing was on the platform we're on, censoring other people. And he said, hey, I want to do this story. Then he went to his channel, did a live stream, shouted me out. I gained 23 subscribers, 23, and I lost 10 of them before the night was over.
You lost 10.
So I had a net gain of 13.
Yeah.
True story.
I did see my buddy Prescott Caliber Club come rolling in. He just finished up a live stream there with Will Patriot. They started theirs about 30 minutes prior than we were scheduled to start ours. And I had problems on my end here where
technical difficulties. We got it straight.
Technical difficulties. JT, CFP is so good. He has more thumbs up than that is awesome.
That is awesome.
That is awesome. And guys, y'all can definitely, like all the live streams, you can ask questions in the chat. I don't know if you can see the chat there, Fallout Shelter.
I cannot.
Okay, so if I see something, I will definitely pop it up and bring it up if something comes across. Mm-hmm. And pretty much tonight, guys, whatever you want to talk about, we can do our best to cover.
Yeah, and look, I personally, I'm trying to figure out how to say this. I'd probably be labeled in the DT group, just in general thinking.
Oh yeah.
I have theories on a lot of stuff, but the main thing, this right here, is I'm just trying to bring awareness to that. I appreciate you giving me that opportunity and maybe show some people where they can go find real information that they didn't know. But as far as just talking, I have opinions on a lot of stuff. You've heard that.
Oh yeah.
So if there's anybody wants to know, I'm kind of like an open book on that, and I'll be honest with the way I feel. It's kind of like the whole space thing. I don't really know what's up there, but I have some ideas. Uh, I'm a firm believer of prayer too, May Edwards. That is one thing that I will tell everybody that's here. If you come to the D Live program at any point, I get together with our group of weather people. We talk about the news that I picked out for the day, and then we pray about it at the end of the day publicly. And however that happens, it happens. But that's what we do.
Yeah.
AM Lopez is always there. Love me some AM.
Oh
Much
yeah.
love, AM. I figured out how to get the chat up.
Did you? Okay.
I did.
I've got a manifestation of imagination. Got a question for us. Oh, it's directed at me apparently. Central Florida Prepper. Okay, I got one. What would you do if you were in prison and the big SHTF hits? Well, that's quite simple. You find the biggest guy in there, hug him up around the neck, and call him daddy.
That's true.
No, no, no. Well, if that happens, to be honest with you, I believe it comes down to the custody levels of the inmates. The low custody, when I got locked up. Actually, I got sent to the main camps when I got in trouble. Um, I got beat up by the guards for it was just my time. But anyway, before then, I worked on the work crews and things like that. I was real low custody. Those guys there, they're small crime. I mean, they have felony records. Don't get me wrong on that. They broke the law, but their crimes are so minute compared to the close custody guys, the killers, things like that. They're not going to be. They're going to release those guys. In my thoughts on that, it's just full blown. Now you're hardened criminals, you rapists, you murderers, serial killers. They're not going to make it. I think that they will either lock them down and leave them because a full blown SHTF guys, there's no government there to run food. There's water's not going to work. A lot of these correction officers, they live close to or right on property of the prison. All right, like the one in Santa Rosa where I was at, you can actually look out the window and you can see the trailers where the mobile homes where they lived. I mean, they were walking distance away. So they're not just going to let a bunch of them out. But that's my thought, guys.
Well, I would tend to agree with just about every bit of that on that level of the prison. I would almost go a step further. I don't know if they had that where you were at in Mississippi. They have an area in the prisons called STG, Security Threat Group.
Yeah.
And those buildings are actually supplied with a system where they can gas the inmates with tear gas if need be. In that type of extreme scenario, I think some of the worst ones are just going to get shut down right then. They can gas those buildings and be done. In Mississippi, I don't know about anywhere else.
Yeah. Yeah, each state's going to have their own setup for sure. Especially, I don't know if they still have the private facilities up or not.
Well, they do, but let's just say some people didn't get that opportunity.
Yeah.
I'm kind of in the same boat you are, but you go to do things, but you break the law, it don't make you a criminal. Some people just have a life where they get caught with things. I've been pretty open with everybody at D-Live about that too. They all know I'm in the same boat you are. I can't carry a gun, just put it that way.
Yeah.
But I worked maintenance I knocked let's see, it was a 6 year to serve. I've done it in 27 months with all the special projects I've done to get time. They have a way to spray tear gas in the security threat rooms. It also controls the way the gas works in the boilers. There are things set up for the criminals, real criminals. that don't want to live out here with you and I. You know the ones I'm talking about.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you've ever been there, you really do understand it. So I think what would happen, in my opinion, if I knew something like that was going down, what I would do, I would run the opposite way of the way everybody else was running. No matter
Yeah.
where it run to, I would run the opposite way of that group, because there's not going to, here's the thing. In Mississippi, you have like one guard to like 29 inmates on a good day. When they start running, they're going to all run for the gate. I'm going to run for the woods. That's just my opinion.
Yeah. John here. Actually, John did send me an email about this today or yesterday. All right, Fallout. What's your opinion on the Army Corps of Engineers? Why I asked is because they continue to flood us via Gavis Point Dam in South Dakota. Do they do this to the other areas?
Yes, the Army Corps of Engineers does make the decision finally in just about every dam when they open it up and it's going to flood somewhere. The EPA will be involved. FEMA will be involved. The Army Corps of Engineers will eventually have the final say, though, in where do we open and where do we not. I know for a fact that the Army Corps of Engineers have had a lot to do with some flooding that's happened around the Mississippi River because they would not open dams. So my opinion of the Army Corps of Engineers is that you got good people and bad people in every one of those situations.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And sometimes, okay, this might blow some people away as me trying to say I'm a truther. Sometimes somebody has to make a harmful decision on one or a million. Now, when my problem with this is I come back from the point of I believe the weather's being jacked with, and that the amount of rain that they are getting in these places that are filling up these dams, it's unreal. We've had more rain this year in this country alone than what we get in most all years. The Midwest flooded. The corn was gone. All the rivers all the way to the coast were full. The levees were breaching in Vicksburg, Mississippi. When you run into all of this problem and this much water, then some of them guys I know, they don't want to have to make that decision. And some of them are cold-hearted enough that, let me put it this way, when the decision comes, the levee that they breach or the dam that they open is not usually going to flood out a middle class or wealthy neighborhood. Let's just put it that way. They will never take out the money. They will take out the poor. And that's just the way the system is set up.
Yeah. Also, CJ Blaze, she's actually been covering these towers on her channel. She's got one not far from her, where she goes walk and film. She's asking you about what's your opinion on 5G. And yeah, if you guys have not been over to CJ Blaze's channel, definitely go check her out. She does interviews and stuff, asks questions of the workers why they're putting this stuff in. I mean, she's actually right. You say boots on the ground. She's right there asking the workers why they're installing this stuff, what's going on.
Right.
Yeah. So what do you think about the 5G, bud?
Okay. We definitely know that it operates in a range that the military uses for crowd control. Now, does that mean that it will do the same damage to you that weapon will? Probably not at that amount of exposure. But what I did find out, what I researched, was the little devices that are at the top of these towers. Every one of those devices has a transmitter and a receiver. The plastic that is now going up around all of these towers, let me put it this way. To our terminology, it's EMP proof. It is designed and patented to only let signals out and not let any signals in. An electromagnetic pulse is a frequency signal.
Yeah.
If you read on into the diagram, that's what it's designed for. Everything on that tower is designed to withstand an electromagnetic pulse. the cables that are running up those towers. They look like they're this big around. The cable in them is about this big around with that much of an insulator. The cables are made to not come apart during a pulse. The concrete building off to the side of them, emergency generators, that is concrete around steel with the gravel poured around it. Most all of them I have around here. We post pictures. We have a 5G section in my Discord too. We hate it. We are totally against it. The transmitter that they're telling you will work up to like the 92 gigahertz range, what they're not telling you, that transmitter is capable. And I found this in the product data on it. If I had my other computer up and running, I would try to find it. But I promise y'all, I will be putting all this stuff more together as I spend more time on it. The product data says that it's capable of the old 4G, which is down to like 1.2 gigahertz, capable of 300 gigahertz, which is 3 times gigahertz. That's how many waves are per second. You know, that's how many times the millimeter is jumping. I'm not a scientist, so, but I'm just telling y'all, if they want to control things with that 5G tower, it will be part of the weather modification system. There will be enough power in it to send microwave, millimeter wave, wave, and be able to heat up the atmosphere. And at the same time, all of the nanoparticulates that we suffer with, and let's see, the self-replicating smart dust and the things that are supposedly going to make the smart cities. Mm-hmm. A lot of people think we already have that in us. I have no documentation on that. This is just thoughts. But if that is in you, and you have all of the 5G technology, you have all of the facial recognition software that's come out, and I've been going over the tech that they can actually, the Pentagon can read who you are with a laser from your heartbeat. That's all they need is your heartbeat to identify you with this new technology. The technology is there for you to talk to your wearable devices without opening your mouth through your bone and skeletal structure. They can read your mind. And this isn't where, this is from physics.org. When I say they can read your mind, they're already getting interaction between computers and artificial limbs on people. Now, when they start to give you that kind of story, you have to remember that that works 2 ways. When your brain is a receiver as well as a transmitter. If they can transmit from it, if they can receive from it, they can transmit to it. So it's, my opinion is it all works together, and the 5G could just be what tears us all down. But I have been wrong about things before. I have been passionately wrong. But I can't find anything good about 5G. We don't need faster internet if it kills people and gives them cancer.
Yeah. Prescott Caliber Club, that's the key, the data transfer rate between our brains and the grid, i.e. cell phones. I still believe that this 5G is also going to be used for spying purposes. Between everything, I mean, Adam just covered the smart TVs and things like that. I mean, we know about that stuff ahead of time. Having a link, and especially that these things are supposedly EMP proofed, mm-hmm. makes me wonder why they still need to be operational if something like that went down. Well, if you have a good, I mean, from a strategic point, okay, let's say that you are invaded, EMP takes things out. You're going to need, I mean, as a prepper alone, you want to have communications. You want to be able to see, hear things that you know, going on in the area. You know, it could be something turned into that, but you know, with our big brother there, it's never for that. It's always used towards the people. And we look at politics now. The U.S. government was supposed to work for the people. We had the government in check all the time. All right, the whole setup of the Constitution, they're supposed to work for us. It's not that way. They got it set up. I mean, the government used to fear us, and now we fear them. And it's not set up right. And I've heard the term prison planet, prison country. Yeah, without the bars, that's pretty much where we are. Will it change? It can change, but it's going to take something very drastic to make it change, and it's going to have to be a repeat of history to make it change.
It's going to be a tea party.
Yeah.
It's going to be people who are actually willing to put something on the line for what they believe in.
Well, and they got it planned out perfectly. They're doing a slow slip with everything. A little bit here, a little bit there, something over here, you got a little bit over there. That way you can't react. If you do react, you're going to get snatched up because you're an individual. And if you are with a group, you are definitely a DT. And then they snuff you out right off the bat, scoop you up, block you away, and you're not going to see a trial date.
Unless you're Antifa.
Now, if it's a massive event, yes, of course, we will all pull together and go against it. But they don't want that. That's what they're doing, a little bit here, a little bit there. That way, when an individual acts out, you got the whole system coming down on them.
Right. Well, they've actually got it now to where if you really start paying attention to regulations that they put in place, see, regulation really kills you, because laws, you still have due process. With a regulation, you have no due process. So they give you a law that you have the freedom of speech, but then they regulate all the way around the country where you have that freedom of speech. And if you break that regulation, you're automatically in trouble, and they consider you just like breaking a law. They take your ability to talk about it. We're no different than the other countries that couldn't speak out against their government. We've become that in the last 30 years. And what you said a while ago, I can't remember which famous person said it, but that was exactly what they said. When a people fear the government, there's tyranny. When the government fears the people, there's freedom.
Yeah.
Our government does not fear us at all.
I wish I knew who actually said that.
It was either Jefferson or Franklin, I believe. I think.
Definitely with the early guys.
One of the early guys.
Yeah. Something I want to bring up right fast. Adam did, like I said, Marfuga was covering the smart TVs and things like that. And he's also discussed the social credit score. All right. Now I want to put a combination. All right. So in China, we see that they're watching everything they do, the social media, all that stuff, and it's going to a social credit score. Well, now they can watch you in your home here, and they are trying to get that off the ground here. The infrastructure for that program is already in your home now. If they decide to go with it and put it in effect, you got cameras in your home right now watching everything you do. Don't even get me started on that Ring, the doorbell thing, man. When I saw that, I'm like, I don't want that on my house. I don't want anybody knowing when I'm coming home and when I'm leaving. But yeah, there's a couple streets here. I've already spotted them. My buddy, he's my fitter. He's the one that actually found me when I got hurt. I was in the hole. But he had one of those, and he's using his phone and stuff. So, dude, you need to get rid of that. He goes, yeah, he just now got into prepping. He's not really into the truth or movement. He doesn't fully understand that yet. He's originally from Puerto Rico, raised here. He came over here when he was 18. Real good guy. But as far as prepping goes, yeah, he's on board with it. He doesn't understand what is coming. He does it for the natural disasters. He understands that. He's seen enough of those.
And that's the way you can really get people to start prepping for anything.
Exactly. That's how I did it here in Florida, where I live at, just over the hurricanes alone. Because we've all seen the power knocked out for 2 weeks at a time, no running water. So it was real easy for me to talk to people about that. So it's easy to get him on board with prepping for disaster. He's not really on board with the truther movement yet.
Hey, check this out. I see in the comments right here, CJ Blaze said most of the towers are being fitted with 5G, even 6G compatible components. Most people don't know about that. They're already working on 6G. And what the problem with this is, and a lot of people don't understand, see, our 5G technology is still done in millimeter waves. Mm-hmm. The Chinese 5G technology is done in fiber optics. Okay. Our 6G compatible components are going to be fiber optics. That's really the big fight between the United States and the China Hawaii company. Is there's two differing types of 5G technology, and that technology, whichever one becomes dominant, is the technology that will lead the force.
You guys in chat, if y'all have CJ Blaze's link also, while you're putting up Fallout Shelter's link, make sure you get her link up, because people need to actually watch that. She actually gets to talk to these workers putting up this tower, working on this tower. Something y'all should all check out. I do have a thing about that 5G, 6G. Now, I don't know if y'all remember this or not, and I wish I had documentation to pull it up. But I do remember seeing it because the mainstream kept on making fun of President T Man because he kept referring to 6G, and they kept saying, "Oh, he's so dumb, he doesn't even know it's just 5G." But now here we are with 6G.
That's right.
He's so dumb, he already knows what's coming ahead before it's even here. So yeah, I remember that, and I remember like, man, this guy, he can't do nothing right. He could actually crap out a good and give it to a person, and then they're going to bitch about it because it smells bad.
Yeah. I I don't really get into all that because I think it's all just keeps us whatever. But at that point with those things, yeah, he called that out. But I
Yeah,
think he may be being used to put a bunch of that stuff out in front of us like that. The
that
reason I say that
ability
is
there.
because okay, I think personally, take Dorian. I think that storm was actually probably supposed to go on across Florida. He would not have been so adamant about it hitting Alabama if
Hmm.
it hadn't have been predicted for that storm to come across and hit Alabama. And when it didn't, that could be just a big thing to make the president look stupid. And I believe those things happen because they fight with amongst themselves.
Oh, you
Like,
remember the icon that they had pop up behind him that he was doing a speech in front had the eagle. It was all messed up. A hacker had it put it in. They go, well, we don't know how that happened. Man, I wish I knew what he was talking about. He stood in front of the seal, and the seal was altered intentionally to make him look like an idiot.
oh,
It's been a
yeah,
couple,
I don't
maybe
watch him
3 months
enough.
ago. It has not been that long ago.
Yeah, I probably don't pay him enough attention for that. Uh, I'm not an anti-Trumper. I'm just not into the political thing. I can't get into it. I think it used to. There may have been a good thing where our country, but now it's just a division tactic, and that's really one of the things we're going to have to overcome to fight to regain our country because we are America. Central Florida Prepper, Fallout Shelter, Sherry, Carolyn, CJ Blaze, we're America. We are what makes this country, not the land, not the government. And we've got to find enough people that's what it's going to take to pull it back. Numbers. Or we've just got to be ready to take care of each other when it all does hit the fan. And those of us that know anything about it and are a little bit ready, we're the ones that will stand tall in the end. And I'm not meaning that in a negative way. It's
Yeah,
just that you can tell who you can tell. And if they can't see it, they will never see it. No, that dog, I promise you, does not have one flea on it. It's in heat and it's got dirt on it from that couch that it was laying on and that blanket that I wouldn't take it off of. It's gonna get that dog's well bathed. It just will not stop scratching over there on that couch right now.
yeah.
I just seen that dog is ate up with fleas from door kicker.
Now, something that we do here at the house, especially with my prepper group, I'll talk to them about everything before I do an actual video. When I do the live, they already know I'm real careful about certain situations when I'm talking about certain things. Well, when we have our meetings and stuff, our cell phones, laptop, all that stuff, it goes in our Faraday cages. All right, now we could take the battery out and all that stuff. It's just easier just to put in our Faraday cage. That way, we know, unless someone's actually got a direct bionic ear on us, we can actually discuss things. But it's something that people really should think about. But I also want to let you know that if you're looking at things online with the laptop and the cell phone, they already know what your intentions are, where your thought process is. But if you're actually
Absolutely.
trying to have a discussion about something, Faraday cages are not hard to build. You can make them at home. I showed it with a 5 gallon bucket. Real simple to do. Just set it in, seal it up when you're talking about operation security and stuff. It just gives you a little bit more edge. But yeah, they know exactly everything that we look at. Everybody that's here right now, yeah, they know who you are. Unless you've got some, what is it, the VR, VN,
They
that
still know who you are.
just don't know who you are.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to be rude about that, but let me tell y'all, if you have signed up for a YouTube account, you have no privacy. Period. If you've signed up for a Google email, you have no privacy. If you've ever had a Facebook account, you have no privacy. You clicked I accept and gave it all away.
Mhm.
If you really read into the details of what you give them access to and how much, and you can put tape over your camera and it will keep them from seeing you.
Yeah.
But everything has a microphone in it. There's a website called Alexa something. It is an archive. They have been archiving the internet since the existence of the internet. A company called Alexa. You can go back. It's like pre the Wayback Machine. You can go get archives of metadata from websites that haven't existed in 25 years, but you have to join the group. When you join the group, they know who you are and what you're searching for. But they've been keeping up with it. So people that, like my kid, I have a kid that graduated high school last year. His whole life has been lived basically online. Google knows my kid better than my kid knows my kid. He can wake up in the morning and his phone could probably tell him, hey man, it's time to brush your teeth, and it would know better than he would. But it's because all of our kids' lives have been lived that way. And when they leave your house at school and people are taking pictures, all of that still, the AI puts it all together like that now.
Yeah.
And I mean, they can take a still shot and make a video of you now.
Yeah.
Deep fakes. Technology has just advanced so far.
That's all manifestation here. If you want to hide, you need to hide in the mix of everyone else. I wish that was truer. It's just the facial recognition. They have an operation here in Orlando. I did a video when I first started at my channel about the facial recognition software that was being first tested, and now they're still using here in Orlando downtown. They were accessing the DMV database for photos. At first, they said, when they first did it, they said that they're going to use 6 police officers, and that was how they're going to track. They're just going to track those 6 cops while they're walking around. And then later, they said that they were accessing the DMV records for extra photos. And next thing you know, they got all of our stuff. I'm sure that they've already had it years prior, but yeah, it's there. Anything that's recorded, they've got access to.
Right. And especially like me and you sitting here talking, and people say, oh, you should have, you just don't want people to see you. No, they know exactly who I am and where I'm at, no matter if I'm on the camera or not. They could pinpoint it from wherever. If they can, I could turn my phone on and turn my maps on. It'll show me exactly where I'm at. Just Google will. I can promise you, if the authorities want to know where I'm at, they don't have any problem either. Now, they may want you to think that, oh, we can't access your Google account and find out where your little spot is on that map and triangulate you. But then they show you on CSI, whatever, how they do it all the time. Some truth in some of that stuff.
Yeah, it's amazing. I remember watching some of those old shows and going, well, yeah, that's all special effects. That's Hollywood. 15 years later, there it is. Huh. You look at old Captain James T there, and then, it took a little bit longer because technology had to catch up, but, the little technology that they got is there.
Right.
It took a while, but it seemed like technology that they first test played on the movies, and then 10, 15 years later, hey guys, there's your small phone that actually gets adapted into your skull, and you can search the internet with your eye. Yeah.
I remember as a child, and I found 1 or 2 people that remember this. You remember when we had 3 channels of TV and you were the remote? You went up and your dad said, change the channel, and you went click, 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 click. There was a commercial that come on TV when I was a child, and it was a man driving down a mountain road. And remember, this is probably in 1982, 83. I was probably 7 or 8 years old. And he gets out of his car and he looks out over the ocean and he holds his phone up and he hits a button and his wife answers. And she's on the old big clunky phone at home, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, honey, I'm sorry, I'm running a little late, but I'll be there soon. And he hits his button, and I know y'all remember this slogan because they used it a lot. Then the next thing you see is the big ball, and it was different back then. But then it said, "It's coming from AT&T."
Oh,
And there used to be a bunch of those "It's coming" commercials.
yeah.
So that stuck with me for so long. There's a poster hanging up at the medical facility at the Navy base here. It's got a big, huge lightning storm, and it says, "Innovation. The best way to predict the future is to create it."
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I got pictures of that. I've put that up on, I've shown that on DLive and a couple other places. I need to post that one in my Discord too.
Older than dirt, I still remember black and white TV. I just serious about, I don't know, 2005. I still owned a black and white TV. I got it for free. You know, I didn't went in my shop.
I, as a child, I didn't have a TV until I got older, and at probably 11 or 12 years old, I was handed down an old black and white TV when Mom and Daddy got a color one.
I don't have any buffering here either, guys. So I'm playing my stream here too, so I can keep up with the chat and stuff. So I'm not sure why anybody's experiencing the buffering. I'm not seeing anything on my end.
You know, I've only had 2 experiences with StreamYard, and it appears to work fairly well.
Yeah, I mean, it gives you the little logo and stuff. Sometime when the replay happens, if we do a very long live stream, it takes a day to get, you know, like French Files in my live stream is like 3 hours long. When it first uploaded, it was only like an hour in the middle. It took like a day to actually get everything uploaded. Yeah, I haven't had any major problems with it. I like how I'm able to bring in somebody. It makes it easier to do collaboration videos with other people.
Right, I see that.
And this is a free. It's a free site. I mean, it's not even software you download. I don't download anything. The links I send you to log in, you don't have to download anything. Just click it and get brought in. And actually, it was Will Patriot that told me about it when I did I was brought into one of his live streams with Prescott Caliber Club, Magic Prepper, and Manifestation Imagination. Dude, that's a tough title. Yeah, brought all of us in on that. So that's where I first came across it. We're talkers, yes, French, we are, and we still got to do another homesteading video when you have time.
I know I don't know a whole lot about prepping. I tell everybody at my channel, I don't watch the other prepping channels because some of them don't, to me, actually hit the prepping thing. So I send them all over here. I tell them, I guess the reason I don't understand is, heck, up until 10 years ago, we still lived off of, we had a well water with a pump. We did have some power run down there, but we live in the sticks here. I've just got fortunate here lately to even have good internet. For a long time, we had zero internet. And when I got to thinking about it, growing up here in Mississippi, it's about the only place I've ever been. We've always bought big bags of rice and big bags of oats, and you've always had a garden, and even when you were a child and hated it, you worked in the garden and you picked the corn. And I'm still feel real fortunate to live here in a setting where I guess we're really kind of sheltered, even though I sit and scream about the things I do. So I'm not super educated on, I don't think about prepper things like y'all do. So it does me good to come over and check out what y'all have going on. It's like, I don't know if y'all know, when preppers videos, the ones that I get notifications for, because I get about half of them and half of them I don't. Boy, I love to try to be the first one on there. But then I remember it was easy when he first started to be the first commenter for Central Florida Prepper, and I'd always give him some type of crazy comment that he'd have to respond to funny. But then other people started getting in there going, I'm first. And then I have to go back on Saturdays now and watch the videos. But yeah, the people who follow you, I feel like they get really good prepping advice that will help them to maintain life wherever they're at and not have to build a crazy something out in the woods to survive it. So that's one reason that even in the beginning, when I watched you at DLive doing we talked about it the other night, you were doing the the camera thing.
Yeah.
I was like, I love that. He looked at it and he was like, this is a piece of crap. This is not what I ordered. I said,
Yeah.
oh, I love this guy. And,
Yeah, that was my first. It was supposed to be night vision, and
right.
I knew the price was really low. I'm like, there's no way. And it says, yes, use IR. Now, this isn't the night vision I just recently purchased. All right, this was my first one, and it was priced really low. I ordered it, and I'm looking at this thing, and I already checked it out. You know, I had to do my little acting and everything there, but I already checked it out. And this thing, you mash a button, and there's a red laser beam that shoots out like a laser pointer. That was the IR. And then it had a built-in LED flashlight so you can see at night. It was labeled night vision. It's a monocular. It sucked. But I kept it because it did have a great range on it. It did have a great range during the daytime. But yeah, we kept it anyway.
But the video, and to me, it was so real. And I was like, oh, this is going to be great. Because I think we had actually, before either one of us had a channel, we had talked in a chat room. And
yeah.
And it was just weird. I was like, oh, I love the way that he pulls it out. And it's like, he hadn't even looked at it. He just opens it up. Hey, check this. What the? But he didn't stop. He just went all the way through with it.
Yeah. If I get hold of something bad, you know what? I'm gonna let you know. Hey, this thing sucks.
It made an awesome video. Oh,
that's
it was
like
awesome. With
all these. You know, I've been getting more and more people contact me by mail, different companies. A lot of them are from China, but they contact about doing reviews and stuff. And I tell them, well, I do honest reviews. I am a prepping channel. If I don't think it is any good and it's subpar, I'm going to tell my viewers that it is, you know, subpar. Most of the time, they don't want to re-answer my email. There have been a couple that have continued on, and you know, then I had to make a decision. Okay, is this something that I could really use for preparedness or not? All right. Now, there's some things that, you know, I personally like, but I couldn't really use it as far as, okay, this thing might help you when the lights turn out or something like that. So I never made the channel. You know, it's just something I looked at. I did a review for their Amazon page about the product, but I didn't put it on my channel. Sorry, checking the chat right fast.
Mm-hmm. Dave Lopez says, I remember. AM's been around a while too.
Yes, AM's been with us for, well, back from the D-Live days.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and guys, if you go to my About section on the channel, I think I still have my Discord link up there. It should be open invitation so that y'all can always click on that to join the Discord for the channel. Am I good about always checking my Discord? No, sometimes I forget it's there. But for the most part, I do check it.
Well, and I probably wouldn't check mine as much either, but when I started it, it was strictly a place we were sharing pictures of the sky.
Yeah.
Me and just a few people. And as it picked up, people were asking, hey, well, what if we do this? And I thought, well, it's just kind of a meeting place for people to share stuff. So make it however you want it. And I'm going to be honest with you. I'm kind of like where you come from, construction and mechanics and building and all of that. Usually those type of people don't become a tree hugger, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
You see what I'm saying? And a year ago, I would have said, man, look at them crazy idiots hugging them trees. And here I am with my arms around a tree. Maybe not to that point. I mean, I'm not against energy and all of that, but I'm against killing the people, man. And this stuff can't be healthy. So,
well, as a country boy, I do understand keeping pollution down and taking care of nature. I mean, that's part of how we live. I mean, if you don't, there's not going to be life anymore. As far as being a tree hugging hippie, that I'm not. But I'm not going to sit there and throw cigarette butts out in the yard. I'm not going to throw plastic in the water. I'm not going to do all that stuff.
Right. That's what and I'm going to say, I'll go this far. If I go in a store and I can carry out what's in front of me in my hand, I refuse to put it in a bag. Yeah. And it's not, I see so many people, they have one little item. They're like, can I get a bag? And I'm thinking, you know, if every person would just keep that one bag a day. How many trailer loads of bags could we save every day?
Well,
I know that may sound nuts, but
I like the bags because it's so much easier for me to recycle those and put those away instead of buying a whole bunch more trash bags for sanitation issues later.
yeah,
Put it that way.
well, but now we do
Because
the
we're
same
planning
thing.
on using the kitty litter and sawdust for, it's just easier to bag on those. But yeah, we do keep those.
Oh no, I do too. I'm talking about when I go to the grocery store, I get so many that I
Hmm.
have a box right now that has bags flowing out of the top of it.
Yeah, yeah.
So when I go in the convenience store and I get a pack of gum,
Oh yeah,
I
yeah.
will not allow them. But some people in front of you will have that pack of gum and go, "Can I get a bag?" And I'm thinking, "Oh my gosh, can you not carry out your gum?" That's what I'm going with that.
Yeah, I
Uh,
got you. I got you. All right, give me a second. I'm gonna put you back on full screen
uh-oh.
since I am holding you hostage on my channel and
Oh,
won't
you're
let
not holding me hostage, man. I'm having a ball. I really am enjoying
you. Dude,
this. I've been waiting for a chance to get to chat with you.
this sweet tea runs through me, so I have to use the restroom, guys. I'll be right back.
All right. Well, I can see the chat now. I can see y'all talking. I seen a funny one a minute ago. Oh, I seen a funny one. I laughed. I couldn't help it. I will reread it. I will reread Central Florida Prepper's chat. Maybe. Y'all go a long way. Anyway, I don't remember who it was. Door kicker. There it was. I had my phone at the time. Next thing I know, I'm being bombarded with hemorrhoid commercials and anti-gas ads. They listen to everything. They absolutely do, buddy. Trust me. I've even tested that. You can talk about something that you say you're going to search for it on your telephone. Talk about it for a second. Type the first letter in the search bar, and bam, there it is. I feel you on that though, man. That's not good. I love trees that keep you alive. Apples, peaches. I agree. I love trees. And what my point was is growing up, I would have never thought I would be where I'm at today. It's kind of it's a very, very positive thing. And I'm kind of really cynical about a lot of stuff. Uh, Growing up in the South, it's always kind of been a mentality of you have to take care of yourself. Nobody else is going to do it for you. So I hope I haven't bored you good people with the type of things that I talk about. Y'all have a very, very good host in Central Florida Prepper. He's actually really awesome. I'm fortunate that I got to know and meet him and hang out with him when I did. I've always been a tree hugging hippie that can hit a target. I heard that absolutely. Yeah, I don't have a smartphone either. Somehow, after I started doing these type of videos, it became stupid. Yeah, CFP is pretty awesome, and he's real. You know, so many people will tell you you got to go out and you got to find this here. And if you eat this, and he's like, look, if you surviving, you're gonna need this in your pantry. There you go. So,
All right, my apologies.
hey, CFP is back. Shh,
Yeah,
don't tell him what I
it.
said.
It took a while, guys. I have to travel uphill both ways in a blizzard here in
Yeah.
Central Florida to go use the restroom from the bunker.
Oh, it's all good. We weren't talking about you or nothing.
No, that's quite all right.
No, man, I was just telling them they have a great host.
Who?
And they know it.
Okay. All right. So what we got going on in the chat, guys? Again, any questions you want us to cover, topics, things like that, please feel free.
Yeah.
I did Prescott Caliber Club. I don't know if you're still here, man. I did get your text picture. He did get the kit today, the fire starting kit. But now he made sure he asked. Oh, he put it underneath the picture, junk mail. Nice. Actually, I'm real good friends with Prescott Caliber Club. We joke around all the time. But I'm glad he got it. Looks like he got his. He's one of the guys that's going to be reviewing it for me. And quite possibly carrying it. Actually, it just depends on if he likes it and thinks it's actually something that he could carry in the store. And if so, that's where it will be available. Because I am not equipped or understand the retail aspects of things like that. So I'm really relying on him if he decides to do it to handle that part of the whole thing. But we also Josh, he got his, so I'm still waiting to hear back from two other subscribers now, and two more review people. So it's moving slowly, but I did. I decided not to put the knife in because it was going to make. I couldn't get a knife cheap enough that was any quality. So to keep the price down, we just didn't put them in. But I did wind up getting those credit card tools. Okay, the
Oh,
carrot blade and the saw. I had to buy these in bulk too, and they still were not as cheap as I wanted. These are not in the kits right now. We are discussing once we see how the original kits do. If we come out with like a 2.0 kit, if we do, we'll probably be putting those in with it, and probably more of the fuel sources, things like that. More of the storm matches and things. That way the pack's bigger, and that'd be the 2.0 version of it if we decide to move forward on that.
yeah, that little fire starter kit you put together is really cool.
I still have to, man. My brother asked me for one. I'm going to make him one. I said, well, it's going to cost you. He goes, really? I said, no, not really. Actually, I actually enjoyed giving those out. It made me feel good that someone was actually able to put that in their bug out bag. It's just that I've been in a situation as a train rider and being out in the woods where you can't get a fire started. All right.
Right.
Or you had just a butane lighter in your back pocket and turns out it cracked. Well,
Oh,
good old Bic. Well, usually I didn't even have a Bic. I had that cheaper one. And then you're out there trying to bang rocks together and it just doesn't work.
yeah.
Now there
Can't find the
are
right
there are
Bob.
many primitive ways of doing it as far as running a bow drill or friction fire, but I wanted something that could light up fast. It could light up in wet conditions. Something that you could start if you're injured. That's the idea behind it because usually in an emergency situation, it's an emergency. And if you've been walking, like when I was out there in right outside of Mount Shasta, dude, it was cold. I could barely even move. I couldn't even do my fingers like that. It was so cold. All right, and I'd already been out there for hours trying to get a fire started. I would have loved to have something just hit it with a flint and it take off. That'd have been great. I did get it. I did get it started though, and there were some really good topics about getting the fat wood and stuff like that in there. That is a good item. I'm not down in fat wood at all. Um, but it come back down to shaving, dexterity as far as what weather increments, things like that, and that's pretty much the only reason I didn't put that in there.
I'm gonna tell you what. Next to, in my opinion, and like I say to all of you people listening, I am not a prepper. We're just country folk. But in my opinion, after food and water, if you don't have power, fire is the most important aspect. And it may even be more important than the first two, depending on what time of year it is. So that's
Well,
what I thought was really cool about that little kit.
without fire, you're not boiling drinking water.
Mm-mm.
I hate to be a downer on that one, but also it's kind of like everything mixed together because as a prepper, from planning ahead, if you start up a fire and let's say it's outside your home and SHTF, you're going to have people coming by. Then it comes to security. Um, so there's a lot of different aspects. Sometimes, I mean, I talk to people all the time. They email me, I can't deal with this. It's so overwhelming. Take a step at a time. You know what? No one even has to buy that fire kit. If you can stock up on things that you think is going to work well, do that. All right. This is just something you can throw in your bug out bag. I'm not here to say you have to buy this thing. No, I'm not going to do that. I think it's a very well made kit. I like it. I thought it was a good idea. That's it.
Well, you spent time out there. You know
Yeah.
what it takes to build a fire. And, maybe that time in your life was meant to bring you to right where you're at now. And you never know what life that will save when they have that kid.
Well, I've been out there, man.
You
I
know,
did some survival training when I was younger. My dad was an old jarhead, and he always had me out in the woods. And let me real quick. It's I'm researching wood splitters right now. Actually, French file, especially with homesteading, that is a good idea because that is going to save your back. It's going to
Yes,
save your shoulders. Um, that way, you don't have to cut up things with a chainsaw all the time. So yeah, that's a good idea.
I
But
agree.
yeah, I've been in those situations where the friction fire wasn't working. All right, bow drills, yeah, they work great in ideal climate and temperature range, humidity here in Central Florida. Go ahead and start filming yourself. Get you some wood and stuff from the edge of the woods there, and
Yeah.
send
And
that video to me. I'll
before you
share
get
it with
started
you.
with the bow, you'll be so wet you can't start a fire.
Yeah, I'll be very interested to see how well and how long it took. Now I'm not saying you can't do it, but the amount of energy that went into that. Okay, let's say you do get it. Let's say you actually get that thing started up. Now I want you to sit back and go, well, what if I did have a bullet wound, or I had a broke arm or foot, I twisted my ankle bad. That's why I put it together. Something easy to do, and I hate to use easy all the time because I like it. I like things a little difficult from time to time, but that's why that was the idea behind that. Stock
But
up on thick lighters,
funny you
exactly.
say that, Patrick. Check this out. I have a little drawer in front of me here. I buy one of these every time I go to the dollar store. Now, granted, I use them, but I have packages of them, and we have them stashed everywhere.
Yeah,
Uh, we have a lot of just land that we end up on that it's nothing but wooded land. So camping, things of that nature, kind of our family outings, if you will. I live in a town so small that before my oldest kid graduated, my fourth grader and senior, they walked in the same front door of the schoolhouse.
hmm
So, all the people around here, I can't imagine having to try to start a bow fire, man. I do my best to have now my wife, on the other hand, I have these lighters. I'll come home and she'll be in the back starting a fire with the magnesium fire starter.
I do that anyway. I had to light my citronella candles tonight, and I'm over there shaving magnesium off of. My wife's like, "Don't you have matches and stuff out there?" I'm like, "Yeah." I mean, I, I got a piece of toilet paper. I'm doing it so I can light up the toilet paper.
Right.
She says, you're making it a little difficult, ain't you? I'm like, "That's what I like doing it."
I'm practicing.
Yeah,
Oh,
practicing.
oh yeah. Look,
Yeah,
we've taught our kids that you can just for fun sometimes we'll go outside, we'll throw up a fire, throw up some bricks, put the grate over it, take a pot of chili outside, cook it on a fire, just to show the kids, hey, look, this. We almost try to make it so that it's not a. If it did ever hit the fan, life shouldn't change for us life threateningly. You
yeah,
know,
yeah. There'll be some.
we shouldn't have to take our kids and say, okay, this could happen. They could always say, oh, well, at least we're going to just cook outside tonight, right? And go from there. That's kind of what we try to do with our children instead of telling them the end of the world's coming. We just try to take them outside and have them used to that. My 11-year-old got a cast iron skillet for Christmas last year.
You know what? I'm actually glad you just brought that up because this is something I've talked about in the past, and we do have Prescott Caliber Club here with us tonight. I see him in the chat there. I just saw Praxis. I keep wanting to say Praxis Prepper because it's actually Praxis Homesteading something. He changed. I think he changed the name not too long ago. It's Praxis Prepper. Anyway, he came up with a game. It's a card game called Bug Out Game, and it's to help explain these situations and stuff and preparedness to children. All right. And I saw that Prescott Caliber Club was here because I do know that he will be carrying that in his store. And to me, it's a genius idea. I don't know when it's going to be available yet. I know he had mentioned it before.
Yeah, our point of that is, as me personally, in my truther, I don't know that I don't know if there's an event so big that if we really had a SHTF that you're really going to have time to react to it. But we do have time to react to the slow kill.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody wants to know, and this is an opinion of mine. So keep in mind, I'm giving y'all an opinion right now. No numbers, no dates. But I believe seriously that the slow push has started to try to bring us all closer into tighter communities, especially the country people. The maps show that they want that to be sustainability uninhabitable zones. And the only way to survive small cataclysms, shall we say, number one, I've always looked at it, you don't know where you're going to be when the crap hits the fan. You don't know. And for me personally, I work an hour away from home every day. So if I got caught with no vehicle, what would I do? Now, we have plans for that. My wife even has a plan for that, is a time to wait if I'm not home. And we've talked about all that.
Yeah.
I guess I was more of a prepper than I really thought. We just, we don't.
Oh yeah,
Anyway.
you're using the exact same procedures that we're using here with my prepper group right here at the house.
Right, and we go through numerous
contingency plans.
And she knows, hey, if I'm possibly away, I could be days away from home. So their plan is to do whatever under these circumstances. And my plan is, because if you have no communication, you need to know up front what to do.
Yeah.
So our plan is based on time. If you haven't seen me at this point and this has happened, you go here because that's the direction I'm going.
Yeah.
And so we have tried to do that type of thing. And like I say, the rice and the food. Now, I will tell y'all something that I do. Because we have heard the stories of, they'll come check out your stuff. I want to give y'all some of my little hidden fallout shelter advice that I do. You can go to your local Benjamin Moore paint store and you can buy 5-gallon paint buckets with a brand new lid that has never been put on the bucket. It still has the factory ring around the bottom. Now, I'm not saying not to wrap your stuff. We take our sugar and our rice and then we wrap it like Central Florida Prepper does and vacuum seal it, however, and then I put it in these buckets. Then I take these buckets and I stack them with real paint. If you come to my house, you cannot find, you go look in the cupboards and be like, what do these people eat? I don't keep stuff in normal places. For those of you that, let me see how to put this, reload your own bang bangs. How about that?
Yeah, gotcha.
You can much cheaper go buy wheel weights, and you can much cheaper go buy. You can look at maybe use a motorsports catalog. You can buy what's called ballast. You can buy it a lot cheaper, and you can buy it from places that are not keeping record with people who are reloading their bang bangs.
Mm-hmm.
So just for general knowledge.
So basically, you're using those wheel weights for lead purposes then?
Lead purposes, correct.
Gotcha.
Now, I'm fixing to build a couple of Faraday cages. I just tore out an old x-ray room at a medical facility, and I had the opportunity to go through it at night, and I took the lead out of the walls. So I have about 90 square feet of 16th-inch sheet lead. I'm going to build me a really nice Faraday box for my camera that I shoot videos in the sky with. So just little things. And I come across these, I guess you call them life hacks is what some people call them. But stuff like the buckets, if you can find an everyday average thing to hide your stuff in, you can put it in a place where when they walk right by it.
Yeah.
So some of the little things I do.
I've always been a huge thing when I talk about the interior walls. Your interior walls, you can actually hide a lot of things in there, especially if they're vacuum sealed because it lays a lot flatter. Don't put it on the exterior walls, the stuff near your windows and stuff, because those walls get hot. All right. Mm-hmm. The insulation in there, between the sheetrock, there's some temperature there, but your interior walls are a lot cooler as long as they're lower to the ground. You can make fake walls up, stuff like that, just in case something like that happens. Now, I am real big about having extra supplies at a refill station en route to a bug out location. Now, I trust me, guys, I understand it is expensive prepping. That's why I always say $5 at a time. You don't have to run out and go drop $1,000 on something tonight. All right. If I had the money to go do that, yeah, I probably would. But because I'm paranoid. All right. But I'm
Yeah.
awoke. I'm awoke. I'm aware. All right. Let's put it that way. I'm not paranoid. It's a pure thing. No, I'm joking around. All right. So just a couple of bucks. I mean, you can buy a lot of canned goods for $5. That's $5. That's five. Let's say it's $1 a can. That's 5 cans of food that you didn't have before stashed back. All right. Hopefully, everybody already has been working on getting that first year to 2 years. Like I said, we've been trying to get that 2 year mark on our canned goods and our dry goods because they're in our rotational stock at all times. So we're always eating off of them. So every time we pull something, we buy a replacement. So it's always within date, no matter what. Now, if the food stops coming, I know that I have 2 to 5 years on the Best Buy dates, but I have 2 year supply of regular food that we always eat. Um, so hopefully everyone gets involved in that and have been doing that. Like I did talk about, I'll be starting to show legacy food storage. And again, guys, that is after you have that first bit of buffer time. The money that you spend, and now I like legacy because it's a little bit more. I like the price range better. Okay, but the amount of money you spend on that product, you can buy much more on your regular canned goods and dry goods that you will be constantly using. You prep what you eat and you eat what you prep. That's the easiest way to do your rotational stock. Now, if you have farmland, stuff like that, and you're growing really nice gardens, of course, start canning, start dehydrating. Um, I wish I had a freeze dryer like Mr. Prescott Caliber Club over here has. That thing's awesome, by the way. It's just out of my budget. We were talking with our group here about working together on purchasing this thing so we can start using it, but we run into the issue. I'm moving away. All right. Some of the other people that live here, they're talking about, well, I might move somewhere else too. My dude, don't move because I am. No, no, I really don't like Central Florida. The wages are low. I'm like, yeah, I got you on that. I understand that. So he did have a good idea on working with your group if you have a group. But my current situation, it wasn't feasible for me to spend that money and then be gone 6 months later and go to Wyoming. But yeah, so I always want to keep that in mind with people. I don't want anybody sitting there looking at me and go, well, he's selling the freeze dried stuff now, just like everybody else. I've always said, get your normal rotational stock first. Then once you have that year to 2 year buffer of your normal foods, then you can invest in the more expensive freeze dry because I mean they got a 25-year shelf life as long as they're stored correctly. That's common sense there because your canned goods are only going to last 10 to 5 years by the Best Buy date. Now I've heard, well, I ate such and such 3 years afterwards and it was fine. Okay, that's that. I'm not saying you didn't do that. All right, but I'm saying when there's no medical available, am I willing to attempt that and get something that takes me out of the game because I ate a bad can of beans? That's going to be a decision on how hungry you are and how desperate you are. Now, I'm going to try to be careful on how I say this. I'm not going to sit there and recommend everybody to eat canned goods that are past the Best By date because I probably could get in trouble for that. Have I done that? Yes. Was it only a couple months? Yes. So you got to look at it different aspects. There's no medical facility if you get food poisoning. Right? There's nothing there available when SHTF at a massive scale happens. So excuse me, use a little wisdom when you look at stuff. Yeah, sure, you can smell, you can do taste tests, things like that. But like in my case, most of my taste buds are gone.
I'm aware of that feeling in myself.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
can, you
Sorry,
can deal with more things. I'm aware of that. I no funny thing. I have some. I do have some. I guess what you call the packaged food, the 25-year food. We don't have a lot of it, but we have that in case. We have about 4 different places where we can go to in case of whatever the emergency may be, where it may be.
Mm-hmm.
And 1 or 2 of the places are not stocked with anything. So we try to keep some of that around in case we have to just grab it and go. And from that point, it's protection, food, water, and get. Then we try to keep some of that around. But we try to live by the same thing you do. As far I'm not going to say we have a 2-year, but we do rotate what we eat and try to keep it in a manner of. But we have quite a few people in the house here. You know, I have 2 kids, a wife. My mother-in-law lives with us.
Yeah.
And I had my mother for a while. She now has she needed a little more assistance. So if it was a scenario of where are you at when it hits the fan, see, I'm also in the spot of, okay, if I'm at this one place, I can grab my mother and take her with me. If not, I'm an hour away. You know, there's always so many different scenarios. And but what I was going to say, my wife and I, we actually will take the packaged food camping.
Yeah.
Because it don't affect us. We don't bother, we don't mind it. We don't need the coolers or nothing like that. We throw a little fire, open a package, pour it in a little water, and you know, we're fed and happy. We can lay back and watch the stars for a while.
Yeah. You know, and I show the Gusson Farms, powdered eggs, things like that. I take those camping all the time. I like that. That's why I always show that product when I buy it, because it tastes good. It's easy to make. You know, am I saying you have to run out and go buy scrambled eggs from them? No, of course not. But having breakfast after shit hits the fan and a cup of coffee,
and
a cigarette, it's going to be great.
It's going to make the day different.
Yeah.
You're going to be sitting back on your front porch.
Sure, you're going to be able to adapt, but it gives you that buffer zone while you're adapting. You know, obviously you don't want to sit there and try to eat your normal meals, you know, 2,000 calories a day when everyone else is starving, because when they start seeing you, me, fat, okay, I'm not fat, I'm trans-slender.
Yeah, trans-slender.
Trans-slender. It's going to be, they're going to be looking, wait a second here. That fat guy has not lost any weight yet.
Right. How is he? Who is he? Wait a minute now.
Yeah. So, you know, it's just a lot of things to take in consideration. You know, if it happened right now, yeah, I've got a good group here. If it happens in Wyoming, all right, we're away from everybody else. I can actually see a lot of stuff coming. There are some ranchers in nearby. They're a couple miles from my location. And once I've already been talking to them by email and phone, working on stuff. They're more set up like I was before I knew I was prepping before Y2K. Then I really went prepping. It's just the way of life. All right. You have to make sure your crop's ready to go, your seeds for next year. It's the same thing. Now, they're not on board with the whole end of the world SHTF, but they are worried about disasters. They are worried about Yellowstone. Okay. But again, we don't know exactly when. It could be tomorrow, or it still might be 100,000 years off.
Right.
We don't know. We just hope that when it happens, it gives us enough time to get the hell out of the way. You know, hopefully within a couple of days, I can be across the country before then.
Right.
But, you know, and that's anywhere you live. If you really look at your location, start figuring in elevation, earthquake fault lines, things like that, it doesn't matter where you are.
That's
you
right.
could be faced with a natural disaster. So, you know, it might not be earth-shaking SHTF, but it's enough to put you in a bad situation, just like a tornado in Tornado Alley. That happens overnight, boom, everything's gone where that thing landed. So it's a smaller scale SHTFs that do happen, and people do need to prepare for it.
A lot of people don't even realize it in this area right here. Jackson, the capital of Mississippi, it actually sits in a dormant supervolcano. The whole city, there's Interstate 55 actually runs around the rim of it.
Really? Okay.
It does. And if I'm not mistaken, the New Madrid fault line runs up from Memphis down into Mississippi. And we also have the tornadoes that rip right up Interstate 20 through Jackson up to Birmingham. But I still, when you look at it, you're not any safer anywhere else. Like you just said, there's always something you got to deal with wherever you go.
Yeah, I mean, you might be safer from one natural disaster by moving, or let's say that I move to, well, let's say I go back to Cherokee area, Asheville, Black Mountain. All right, yeah, I'm good from, although they just started having earthquake swarms there, which has never happened.
Right,
I
right.
grew up out there. We have never seen that. And now they got that. But let's take it for example, it wasn't happening right now. Okay. No earthquakes, or I don't have to worry about flooding. Well, with this weather change, could you imagine a massive blizzard that lasts a year long? Or let's say that the super volcano did go and blotted out the sun and caused a predominant miniature ice age. You can freeze your butt off out there.
Absolutely.
It doesn't matter where you go, there's always going to be something. So, not to be scaring anybody, you just prepare as much as you can for as many disasters as possible. And most of your preps pretty much lay hand in hand with other disasters. So a lot of people, well, I can't prepare for everything. You don't have to prepare for everything. You just prepare for as much as you can because most of those preps are preparation for other they work exactly with another disaster. So except for the pandemic ones, you do need some body protection on that one. But you need food because if they quarantine you, if you get stuck in quarantine, you're going to need food. You're going to need water.
Food and water's got to have food and water.
Yep.
Can't live without it. And that's well, you can live without food longer than you can live without water.
Yeah.
The thing about it, let's see, I was fixing to tell you, I think the little Sawyer water filters.
Yeah. Yes.
We carry those around with us, and we do carry some life straws around with us when we go camping, things like that, just in case. You never know what'll happen.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't bought it yet, but I want to buy one of the big Berkey water filters for the house.
Yeah.
I think the water we're having to use that we used on our garden this year, even that I think our garden didn't produce nothing this year like it usually produces.
Well, look at tap water. Okay. Tap water is treated with chemicals so that algae does not grow in the water lines. And now you're trying to use that to grow a garden.
Mm-hmm.
So, there's bleach in water. All right. And bleach is one of the worst things to try to put on a garden because it kills all the bacteria, the healthy bacteria on the ground. Yeah. So it's definitely possible that it affected that.
And it was this year worse than others.
Yeah.
We usually have great gardens. And another thing, usually it's weird. It flooded in so many places this year. Mm-hmm. Mississippi hardly got any rain compared to what we usually get. One of our main reservoirs, I can go by it right now, and the water level's been down 13, 15 feet all year, even with the flooding coming from upstream. The Mississippi River was flooding, and our local lakes were just extremely low. That's weird. I don't understand it. I can't give you an explanation for it. Every time I tried to talk to one of the people that worked at the lake around here, they give you, oh, well, we have it lowered for the runoff that's coming. But they weren't letting the runoff out. And I don't know. Then basics, food, light, water.
Yeah. You definitely want to prep for your health. That's for sure. Especially if it's a massive SHTF. I mean, you got to make sure you got medicines. Like I said, right now I'm overweight because of the injury. I never was this overweight. I've always been able to pride myself on that one because I always worked out. I had a rough job. Is that top priority when I get mobile again? Yes, of course.
Absolutely.
I need to keep my heart strong. I need to keep my lungs strong. I got to lose that weight. I'm still a little overweight than what I usually am. So yeah, it does concern me. So yeah, definitely worry about, you need to work on your health. And for those that, and I do get a lot of emails where people are disabled, they've been injured, or they have some type of problems medical wise, and they're worried about it. The ones I've talked to, some have been able to find groups that they can work with as far as assistance, but they're getting stocked up in food. They're not just dead weight, and I don't mean that in a bad way. They are still offering a service to this group that's also going to be helping them out. Now there are some that they're pretty much alone. I tell them, get as much food as you can. If you cannot comfortably meet somebody and make a plan with somebody, get your family involved. Somebody that knows, and that plays in a lot. I mean, most people, when you talk about prep and stuff, they look at you, go, "Oh God, one of those." I get that. I really do. I think there's only like the last study I saw was like 10 million people that prep to a degree, and that's not SHTF preppers.
Right.
That is natural disaster. That's three days to a week of food and water in hurricane areas. So yeah, we're definitely a minority in this.
Right. I agree. And it's kind of funny. I've been looking at some of the comments over there.
Mhm.
Yeah, I guess I was wrong. I guess we prep. We just never looked at it in that manner because we never had got involved with it in that deal.
Yeah.
We grew up from parents. It was like, at one day the government might come kick your door in and take your guns, so you better be ready.
Oh,
And
back with my granddad when he sat there and said it was just like Gestapo days. Where's your papers?
right,
License, ID.
let me see your papers.
Where do you live? Why doesn't your ID match for your new address? Yeah, that was my granddaddy. That's back when he come back from the war and stuff, and he's talking about this. I'm like, but I thought you kicked the Nazis' ass. He said we did, and we just brought him right over here.
Right, brought them into Huntsville, Alabama,
Yeah,
not far from me. If you can travel over to Huntsville, Alabama, and you can find the, let me see, how can I put this? You can still find the heritage in Huntsville, Alabama, where most of all of your paperclip guys were moved to.
oh yeah,
Mm-hmm. That's where Von Braun went when he became the second director of NASA, and a lot of his other counterparts came with him. And a lot of the reason that you don't hear so much about anything else is because NASA was also the place where they started doing things with the they brought their engineers like Von Braun, as well as they brought their bioengineers, like the people who were working on making the ticks and all that.
hmm
They brought all of them. I've often wondered before. So this is crazy conspiracy thinking, guys. This isn't anything to back it up.
that son.
What if they didn't lose the war? What if they just decided they wanted this country?
I see where you're going with that one. Uh, I got problems with that, but I see where you're going with it.
I said,
Okay.
what if? I
Yeah,
like to
yeah.
think about things
No,
that way.
I'm letting you go with that. I'm not going to stop you on that one. I see where you're going at that.
And what if? Okay, we think in ways like this from time to
Yeah,
time.
well, that's the
So
best way to start planning.
what if when that happened, they got together and said, okay, but the people in that country will never buy it.
hmm
And what if we just go and turn that country into this over a period of time and call it progressivism?
Or socialism. That I'm sorry. Excuse me. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
I
that's what they turn. That's what it turns into, and then that turns into the C word.
Yeah.
But the point being, it's slow kill all the time. I know that's not the truth, but it's almost like that's exactly what happened. I mean, you bring everybody from the country that you win over, give them prominent positions, and I mean, okay. Let me tell you how I feel. I'm fixing to. I might go off on this. This is where I'll blow up at. You and we can't go get a job like that. We can't carry a gun. But a man can go pull the handle that gassed 1 million people, and we're going to go put him in the head of our space agency? Yeah, I got a problem with that. I got a real problem with that. So, me and you don't have any retribution. Why should they?
Yeah. I get what you're saying on that.
You're a welder. That is actually a very, trust me, I can do almost anything. I wanted to weld all my life. My dad's an excellent welder. I am a tacker. You know what that means.
Yeah.
If I actually do any welding, I become a grinder. and I on race cars, I did a lot of welding and a lot of grinding. And I wanted to be good at it. And I'm usually good at anything I want to be good at.
Yeah.
Okay. It takes a talented individual to put together 2 thick pieces of steel, have it x-rayed, and it be perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of work involved. It's not just putting a bead on it. You are doing a lot of prep work. You have to worry about the heat index on it because you can cause stress cracks from heat. And then when they throw that Magnaflux on there, it looks like spider webs. It just went all over that steel.
Now, you know that, and 90% of the public don't. But they're still not going to, if they come up need a welder and you're the only one there, they're not going to do what they did for them, for us.
Yeah.
And what did we do? We didn't kill people. We had some little minor thing that they let us out for pretty quickly.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get what you're saying on that. I do understand that.
That's part of my frustration on some of that.
Yeah.
There is no retribution for American citizens that we will just hand over to everybody else. Part of my problem with the political system.
And a lot of the arresting stuff that they're doing now and charging people with felonies so they can get them in a database, there's a lot more behind that too.
I agree.
There's always new laws that are coming out to arrest people on, to get them in the system. So I mean, dude, man, it was, I don't know, a couple months before I got hurt. I drove up to the gas station. I always keep tags, insurance on my vehicle, driver's license good, the whole 9 yards. You know, I do everything correct now. Let's put it that way. I am a good citizen. I get pulled over. I get a felony stop. Get out of the effing car or I'll blow your effing head off. Gun drawn. This is right outside of Orlando. This is still in a Apopka. What's felony stop means you're on the ground while they're searching your car.
Right.
Why'd you stop me? You got a tail light out. I said, no, I don't. You do too. No, I don't. I didn't see your lights on when you're driving down the road. It is still daylight. I don't have to drive with my headlights on. All it was, they ran my plate, and that was it.
Right.
So I dealt with that. Now, I broke the law years ago, okay? You know, it's one of those things that no matter what, it's something I got to deal with. Well, instead of dealing with it in this state anymore, I'm moving somewhere else where there's no one around.
I heard that.
But, you know, it's just one of those situations. You know, I willfully broke the law on my end. I knew it was wrong. Okay, I got wrapped up in some stuff. I altered some documentation, and you know what? It bit me in the ass. It really did. You know, I lost a huge portion of my freedom and life on that. And I remember the judge asking me, well, do you regret doing it? I regret breaking the law, yes. But in the process, I wound up having 2 sons. And I don't regret that one bit, because if I hadn't been doing what I did and ran for those 6 years, they'd have never been born.
Right.
Well, no. He didn't like that answer.
Yeah, judges don't usually like our answer.
No.
But at the same time, if you really know much about the system and laws, they subvert the truth for personal gain at the expense of the common man many times.
Yeah.
The DAs that get together and get you to plea to a different deal, they're eating dinner with the DA they're eating dinner with the DA that's prosecuting you is eating dinner with the lawyer that's watching out for you. It just, I don't know.
Buddies.
That's just all.
My wife, he was a lawyer. Her mom actually worked for Tallahassee. She's in there. So yeah, man, I mean, it is what it is. But anyway, a little bit brighter topics. SHTF. No.
Yeah, well, look, I tell people, and maybe it worked out this way because I don't hide what happened with me, because I've been through it enough that it's not a big deal anymore.
Yeah.
But you're right. It does cause some. What gets to me is there's no repercussion for your first time offender, no matter what. But if you bring somebody from another country, it doesn't matter their offense. We let it go until you break the law here.
Yeah, well, yeah, they have to break the law here. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of hard, unless it's a war criminal act. It's kind of hard to judge somebody on their law.
Well, that's kind of what we were talking about. War criminal.
Yeah. Now, if it's war criminal, yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous.
We put them in charge of our government.
Yeah.
And not just NASA. We put them in charge of the bio parts. What is it, Plum Island? We sent German scientists to Plum Island, just like we did to Huntsville. If those people wanted to kill people over there, why wouldn't they want to still kill people here?
Mm-hmm.
You know as well as I do. Just because if I'm right here and I got a problem with a country that's killing me and my people, and they get me wrapped up and they got me in cuffs, I'm going to say whatever I want. But when I get into their country, I'm still not going to like them.
Oh yeah, that just goes right into the watch that word, the middle E, and bring in people, and then later they go, oh yeah, they're actually still connected with such and such. We brought them over here 6 years ago. We just now found out that they're still connected with this group.
Right.
You mean you didn't know that before?
Yeah, you mean that the guy that starts with an L that we train and send him over there? Yeah. And then they wonder, oh, what's his problem? I don't know. Maybe you give him all the weapons and all the training so he could defeat you.
Yeah.
No, that's all a joke anyway. But we have the opportunity to use these platforms while we have them to try to bring people together to fight this. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And since we've ruined your stream, I've still been trying to keep the words at a normal so they don't just shut you down.
They flagged us within the first couple minutes. I remember I pulled up the phone where it hit me with limited. Yeah, they flagged us right off the bat, man.
I'm gonna tell you what, I may have to do this and let you come over so that we can just talk.
Yeah, absolutely.
And because I have a lot to say that I'm trying my best not to say.
Yeah. Yeah, we need to do the platform over the D Live to get away with some of the things we want to talk about. Hoople's Cat. Hey, bud, how's it going?
Hey, Hoople's Cat. That's a cool name.
These platforms won't be this open for much longer. You're absolutely correct.
Oh, remember what I said about the constructors meeting earlier about the Post-Truth Society?
Yeah.
Well, for 2019, one of the topics was weaponizing of social media.
Huh.
Kind of falls right in line with everything going on with the elite.
Yeah, you're talking about the B group.
The B group, right?
Yep.
I call them the constructors.
Yeah.
You know, because they build the world, and nobody's caught on to the constructors yet.
Yeah, nice stream.
Cool. Well, thank you.
Yeah, for those who have not went over to Hoople's Cat, I've shouted him out many times. Definitely check him out. Yeah, like I said, he's a very smart man over there. You know, he brings the facts to you. You know, some people, they hear the facts and they go, you know what, I just don't want to hear it. Well, you know, that's just the way it is. You know, you don't have to agree or like the facts, but he gives the opportunity so that you know what's really going on.
Hey, a lot of this stuff that I looked up on the weather stuff, it actually showed me facts that I had wrong just on what I was thinking. Now, do I like being wrong? Absolutely not. I was passionately wrong on some of it.
Yeah.
But it allowed me to say, you know what? Okay, I made some mistakes. This is real. I need to search this part of it and look at it from that angle. And at that point, I tell people, you know what? Don't listen to me. Don't take my word for nothing. Just go look it up. It's easy to find.
Hooples. Yeah, never agree with me. With people. Yeah, I just messed up the chat there. Yes, never agree with me, people. I'm nuts.
We're all nuts.
You're nuts. You're pretty smart, actually.
Hey, look, I wear my crazy badge proudly. I tell people that quite often. When people see me coming at the gas station, here comes that crazy guy. Look, he's got his camera with him.
Man, as long as you're not screaming at the stop sign or the gas pump, you're good. Okay.
Oh, I haven't screamed at a stop sign since I got off all the drugs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's been many, many years.
Yeah.
Turn green, dadgummit. Just kidding.
Oh, all right, guys. So we are pushing 2 hours and 44 minutes. I would like to get some questions from you guys for Fallout Shelter. I would like to go ahead and end the stream about 3 hours in. So please, if you got something you want to talk about for the next 15 minutes, feel free.
Yeah. And then I'm gonna go over to D Live and do it again for an hour.
I'm gonna take
Maybe.
my happy butt inside and probably go to bed.
Huh?
So I'm gonna take my happy butt inside and probably go to bed.
Yeah. Well, this is my little domain in the big house, and like I really need to clean it, but this is actually a shop where I work on stuff, and I have a little workbench here. I have a couch back here, but my dog is chewing its toenails. Like off, like just bit one of them off. That's Mary, the wonder dog. You remember? She still hangs around everywhere I go, no matter where I go. I heard something. She was biting her toenails. I'm sorry, people. Uh, nobody probably. I don't see any questions.
Oh, AM Lopez is letting you know right now. I'm off tomorrow. Let's do it. So she's definitely on board to go into the D Live there.
Oh yeah, I'll be over there, AM, at some point. Uh, I have been telling Central Florida Prepper since he started that I would come over here and I would be seen and I would talk about the plane farts and the aerosols. Look, the main thing is it's not healthy. People across the world are finding stuff in their blood, and I wish I could put it all together for you in a really big picture. I hope to be able to come back in 6 more months. Yeah, that's what I mean. I would like to be able to come back in 6 more months and have a much clearer picture, because I can tell y'all, I'm not going to stop on what I'm digging into. And hopefully I will have it together in a better presentation. Maybe. But
Maybe.
I work quite a few hours a day, and then I come home and try to give time with my family, and then give time for this. So I want to tell Central Florida Prepper, I really appreciate him having me on.
Absolutely.
What's y'all's opinion on what's happening with the oil rigs being detained?
Oh, that's just cutting the fuse shorter on the powder keg. That's all that is.
Yeah.
When we started seeing the supposedly mining, and I covered that as soon as I found out about that, and they kept trying to say where it was coming from. This is just to get us involved with something else.
I kind of think it may just be a pissing contest.
Now, well, the thing is, though, I mean, they are admitting to that they grabbed it. They said that it was smuggling diesel. I get technically from their view, it would be because of the sanctions that are on them. But we have also put our foot down on that one, and we're saying we're trying to get enough stuff to justify going over there, and that's all this is.
I agree.
It's going to happen. Now, is it the right thing to happen? I have my own personal beliefs and opinion, but they are tainted due to family members and friends that have passed away over there in those deserts. So, my opinion is not really probably a good opinion.
Well, I know mine's not a good opinion. I think the leaders of the world, are the World Bank. This is my opinions, everybody. This has nothing to do with Central Florida Prepper. I believe the World Bank runs the world. They don't care who runs each country. They allow some peoples in some countries to feel like they're running the countries until they call in their debt from the World Bank. I believe these countries, some of these leaders actually feel like they're making some decisions, but when the people who hold the money call it in, your decision don't matter. If you look, they're actually doing things with Aramco right now that they never expected they would do, because Aramco actually is what puts money in the S word. I don't know if y'all can say that or not, but Aramco is their state-owned oil company. It pays every national there. That's how they pay people. And now they don't have cash, so they're offering like bonds or something. And I'm not sure on the words, so I'm not a banker, but they're trying to sell parts of that company. That's a state-owned oil company. The bank is going to profit from their loss and their victory. Just as if the United States crashed, the bank would profit from the loss and the victory. The people who hold the money don't give one crap about an American citizen, a Chinese citizen, an Australian citizen. They only care about the profit at the end and how much gold ends up in the Rothschild's account at the end of the day. Because whether y'all know it or not, that's who sets the gold standard every day. The price of gold is set by the amount of gold that is held in the Rothschild's vaults. That's the number one family, and I don't care who tries to give you a reason they're not. They set the gold standard. They're number one. That's just the way this world works.
I know their names come up a lot.
Right.
I put it that much. I know their names are always tied in on something.
Right. So when it comes down to war and battle and all that, it's all just a smokescreen. It's all about putting money into the bankers' pockets, the World Bank. And the problem with that is before long, AI and robotics will make it where we're not needed at all. That's my opinion on that.
Well, I saw A.M. Lopez popped up here. Create a problem and come up with a solution.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm afraid most of it is that exact saying. I mean, that's true.
I know it's hard for you to say some of those things. So I'm going to have you come over to my channel sometime so you can say what you want.
Okay. Then they'll record me, go back to YouTube. Did you see what CFP said?
Oh, no, we'll say it on YouTube. You can just do it on my channel. Hey, I know what we'll do. We won't call it CFP. We'll be like Fallout Shelter and whatever you want to call it. We'll just trick everybody. You come say what you want. Because my channel really went kind of flat when I did the report on the YouTube blog where they said we're going to slam you.
Mm-hmm.
I did that and I'm like, okay. And it all shut down. Then my stuff went flat. I'm like, all right, now I'm on their nerves. And I'm probably not, but I like to think I am anyway.
Yeah,
that's just me though.
Hoopo's got that. Yeah, money rules absolutely. Most everything people focus on is smoke and mirrors. Yeah, I mean, there's other. I mean, we know. I hope we all know that the things that we get told is not everything we get told. They'll dangle something over here when you should have been looking over here. It's always, when I check my news feeds and stuff, I don't wait for the suggested news feed. Okay, when I see something on my news feed and they're telling me to look at this part of the world, I'll look at my map and go, okay, well, let me go check somewhere else right fast. And then there'll be a story going on over there, usually some type of pandemic that's broke out or something that's fueling a fire for the war drums. I'm like, why ain't y'all talking about that? So, yeah, we're always getting shoved as far as our information. It doesn't mean that I'm always right on the information, okay? I mean, I've been misfed information and looked like a complete jackass when I came out with the story. It happens. When I find out I made a mistake, I go back and I try to correct it, take it down.
That's all anybody can ask for.
But it happens,
Right. I mean, at least you're not mainstream news where you come out and tell a flat out lie and 20 hours later they prove that it's a lie and the mainstream goes, oh, well, that's what it is.
Yeah, that's okay.
It was the news of the day.
It was the news of the day. We came up with it when we're drinking coffee this morning. Right. Okay.
Yeah. They're kind of like the weather. Raytheon writes the forecast every day. They have an app for that.
All right. Well,
I enjoyed it, man. I really appreciate you having me. I have had an awesome time. And
finally, I know that you were busy. I already knew that, but yeah, hopefully we'll be able to work on something there at D-Live. I will try to use my laptop for D Live. Like I said, when I tried using my cell phone last time, it crashed. I mean, I had a hard time just staying on your stream, and then I tried. Well, maybe it's just his stream. Went to a couple other streams. No, same issue.
I might try to find out if I can use this StreamYard over on D Live.
Yeah,
I'm sure I can. I just need to figure it all out, and I think that would work good. And then,
like I said, it's free, and it does ask you your broadcasts. You know where you broadcast from. YouTube. What's the other one? It's a whole list of different things. They got tutorials online on YouTube on how to do it. They do small segment videos on each of the aspects and stuff like that. I like it pretty good.
I will tell all of y'all, I'm going to try to get a list of links together that I have, and I will try to email them to CFP. Because I was trying to think I could use them from Discord here. If I had another monitor, it would work better. But hey, maybe we'll do this again sometime, and things will. At least I'll know more about what I need, and so yeah, it's been great. I really enjoyed it. I'm glad I got to finally meet you and talk in this manner. And to all the people that were paying attention, I hope I haven't bored y'all too much, and I hope you all enjoyed it as well.
No, absolutely. We definitely appreciate you coming over here. And like I said, Fallout Shelter is one of our subscribers. Been with me from the beginning. I first met him over there at D Live.
Central Florida Prepper is the official prepping channel of the Fallout Shelter.
All right.
Has been since the beginning.
Yes, he has always said that. I do try to bring correct information to everybody, especially when it comes to survival. And like I said, guys, I know it's expensive when you start getting into things. That's why I try to keep it on a budget, because I know how tough it can be. But I don't want to mislead people by telling them the wrong thing or showing them some type of product that I know nothing about. It's just easier for me to show you what I know and let you make your own decision on, okay, that'll work, or man, he's full of shit.
Right.
You know? So, or you get a monocular that says it's night vision, and you get it out of the box and it's not. So, yeah, good times.
All right. Well, look, man, I'm fixing to go grab me a snack and get ready for my D Live show. I appreciate you having me. Much love to you and to all your subscribers. I appreciate y'all putting up with me.
All right. Definitely appreciate you coming in, bud.
Thanks, man.
All right. Take care. All right, guys. Again, that was Fallout Shelter. He does have a D Live account. If you go over to D Live and type in Fallout Shelter, you'll definitely find his streaming. He usually streams about every night. AM Lopez, I know you go there quite a bit. So, yeah, definitely go check him out, guys. And I will be going inside. I probably won't lay down right off the bat. I got to check on some news and see who else has posted something recently. And until I talk to y'all later, again, like I said, I will be bringing my wife in on a couple of our videos because she is interested in starting her own channel. And when we start doing our cooking show, I want her involved with it because, like I said, my taste buds are no good. Hers are. So we're bringing her in so everyone else gets to meet her. You've only seen glimpses of her from time to time. So, yeah, I got her to agree. So, anyway, guys, y'all take care, and I'll speak to y'all later.